Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what, if neglected Naruto was sent by force in fairy tale. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by that dude you know and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Ch1 Prologue. That was my life. Life for one Naruto Uzumaki was never easy. Sure, there were times he was admittedly happy. Hell, there were even times that made him think that his life wasn't so crappy. It had its ups and downs and it was pretty interesting, but never easy. I suppose I should explain everything from beginning to end so you can get a general idea of what I'm talking about. It started around 17 years ago on October 10th, the day of his birth, and therefore the beginning as I called it. He was born to two notable people, Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze, his mother and father respectively. Minato Namikaze was a renowned ninja of Konohagakure, so renowned he had earned the name the Yellow Flash in respect to his amazing speed using his signature technique, the Flying Thunder God. He was also the Hokage, the leader of the village, and its most prominent shinobi. Truly, he had a lot of things he could list on his resume. His mother Kushina Uzumaki was a survivor of the prestigious Uzumaki clan, a clan renowned for their vitality and skills in Fuinjutsu. She too was a strong and respected shinobi of Konohagakure. She was well known for her fiery spirit and her skills as a kunoichi, not to mention her boisterous and tomboyish personality. Both people were beloved and respected in Konoha, and by each other. In fact, their love for each other was only eclipsed by one thing, their love for their unborn child. When they had gotten the news, both couldn't contain their happiness. Since both were orphans, they longed to have a family, and with the news of a child on the way, they could finally start. They would fuss and prepare for their coming parenthood. Either of them ever had their thoughts far from their unborn child. Truly, they would both become caring and doting parents. However, there were a few complications. Kushina was what was known as a Jinchuriki, a word that roughly translated to the power of human sacrifice. She was a container of a giant mass of chakra given living form called a Biju, or tailed beast. And she wasn't the container to just any tailed beast, no, she was the container of the Kyuubi. The strongest of the Biju was so powerful it was considered to be the embodiment of natural disasters, and it was so powerful that the only thing that could contain it was an Uzumaki with their remarkable vitality. Now, the reason this was a problem was because female Jinchurikis filtered their chakra and energy to nurture the baby during pregnancy. This leaves the seal that holds back the beast weakened. Now, this doesn't mean the beast will break out. If there is a skilled Fuinjutsu user on site, they could enforce the seal during childbirth in order to ensure the beast stays put. And it just so happens that both parents were skilled Fuinjutsu users. Now this is the part where trouble starts. You see, right after Kushina had successfully gave birth to their son Naruto, a name they got from a book by Minato's sensei and the godfather to his child, a masked man broke into the chamber that they were in. He then proceeded to kill the doctors and take young Naruto hostage. After that, he attempted to kill Naruto in order to get Minato away from Kushina. It worked, and the masked man then unveiled his true intentions, the release of the Kyuubi and the destruction of Konoha. He then tried to end Kushina's life only for Minato to save her in a yellow flash. Then Minato took his wife to where their child was. The masked man then started destroying the village, causing a lot of death and destruction. Minato then went to stop the Kyuubi and ended up in a fight with the masked man. After he defeated him, he then went back to fighting Kyuubi. Minato fought Kyuubi and protected the village, but it was unfortunately futile. The Kyuubi was too powerful, so Monsanto did the only thing he could. He teleported the beast away from the village. Unfortunately, the place he teleported them to was where he stashed his wife and child. Not the best decision he's ever made, but not really the worst. Then they ran out of options. They couldn't stop the Kyuubi themselves and they couldn't really run away. So Minato made what really was his worst decision ever. He decided to seal the Kyuubi into his newborn son. Kushina was of course against the idea, but Minato convinced her that they really had no choice and it was the best course of action. So Minato prepared an altar and placed his child upon it. He then began the hand seals for the Reaper Death Seal. As you've surely guessed, this was no ordinary sealing technique. It was the most powerful sealing technique there was, and as such had a terrible cost. The cost was someone's life and soul. Minato was willing to go that far to protect his village and family. He used the technique to first seal half of the Kyuubi's chakra inside himself. The reason being he didn't want to take any chances, and he believed that perhaps one day his child would be able to tame his half of the Kyuubi's power. However, before he could seal the other half into his son, the Kyuubi noticed him. Kind of hard not to when he literally split the thing in half and sealed away one of the halves. The Kyuubi then thrust its clawed hand forward in an attempt to impale the baby Naruto to stop the sealing. He wasn't successful. Minato and Kushina jumped in front of their child and used their bodies as shields to stop the claw just before it touched him. Both were impaled and dying right in front of their child, who wasn't even an hour old. All they could do was say their final parting words to the child they looked forward to raising but now never would. They then sealed away the Kyuubi, and what was left of their own chakra, into Naruto in hopes of one day seeing him again. They then passed on to the next world, leaving their poor son crying next to the corpses of his only family. After that, Naruto was then taken by the previous Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, a kind old man that everyone looked up to and respected. He was also one of the toughest shinobi to ever come out of the woodwork. The kind old man knew of Naruto's origin, and he also knew what burden the boy was bearing for the sake of the village, and for that he saw Naruto for what he really was, a hero. He then set about picking up the pieces for his village after the great catastrophe that had befallen them. His first action was reinstating himself as Hokage in an effort to stop power-hungry fools from taking the position for themselves, like a certain warhawk. His next action was calling forth the clan heads and leaders of the village in order to inform them of what had happened to the Kyuubi. He unfortunately made the mistake of telling them that Naruto was now the Jinchuriki of the beast. The civilians and elders were immediately up in arms about the news, calls for his execution from the civilians, while the elders demanded that he become a weapon or tool for the sake of Konoha. Luckily the clan had stayed mostly neutral in this, and only a few narrowed their eyes at the news, though one Shikaku Nara, the Umbu commander and head of the Nara clan, made an attempt to properly explain to the civilians that Naruto was not the demon. He did so due to his loyalty to Minato and his loyalty to Sarutobi. However, his logical and understandable explanation was rebuked with nonsensical refusal due to the civilians' wishes to vent their anger at something. However, the argument was ended when Sarutobi put his foot down on matter, literally. He pretty much channeled the personality of his student Tsunade when he ordered the end of the debate of what would happen to Naruto. He then told them what would happen. Naruto would be raised as a normal child and he would be viewed as a citizen of Konoha who would be able to make his own life choices, such as if he wanted to be a ninja or an average civilian. They then made a plan for repairing the village and dispersed. However, Sarutobi forgot to tell them to keep Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki secret. The civilian representatives of course told whoever they deigned to the information they knew, and they held no qualms with exaggerating and misleading people as to what Naruto really was. One could only imagine the lies they fed to the people they told about the poor innocent baby. Sarutobi heard of the talk going on about the Jinchuriki child and he quickly took actions to stop them, just not the right actions. Instead of telling them that the rumors were a lie, or something like that, he chose to believe in his village and called a village gathering. At the gathering he showed them Naruto and told them the truth. He told them the beast was sealed inside of Naruto, and he acted as a prison for it, keeping the entire village safe with each breath he took. Sarutobi truly believed that the people of his home would see Naruto for what he truly was and not what he contained. He believed they would see him as a hero. He was wrong. The people in their grief called for retribution paid in the boy's blood. Even shinobi who were taught to be more open-minded in their thoughts and beliefs cried out in anger because of what they had lost during the tragedy. They refused to believe the truth and sought only to find something to blame for the pain in their hearts. They could not be reasoned with no matter what they were told, all because of the human desire to hate something for the wrongs wrought upon them. Sarutobi felt ashamed for what the people of his village were doing and what they were saying. He felt ashamed that an innocent child that had done no wrong was being persecuted when he should be thanked. But most of all he felt ashamed that Naruto, who had already lost so much, was now labeled as the monster that took his family from him, and the sacrifice of said family was forgotten. Sarutobi was saddened and angered by the injustice of it all. So right then and there he made a law stating that it was forbidden to tell the younger generation of Naruto's burden. To break such a law would be seen as a crime punishable by death. Luckily not everyone turned against Naruto. There were a number of ninja that believed in their Hokage, both present and past, as well as a number of civilians that believed him as well. There were also a number that were neutral in stance, stating that they didn't hate Naruto, but they also didn't really care. Then there were those that stood out and openly supported Naruto and Sarutobi, such as a few clan heads, though they couldn't do much less they compromised their clans, and one Hatake Kakashi. The young Umbu knew straight away that Naruto was his late sensei's son, and even attempted to adopt him along with a number of other people that believed in Sarutobi's words. Unfortunately the civilian council, elders and even a few shinobi clan heads, I won't say who, put a stop to that by claiming Naruto would end up being used by whomever adopted him. Sarutobi knew they didn't care about Naruto and only wanted his head, and in some cases to use him themselves. He couldn't do anything. So with a heavy heart he put the poor boy in an orphanage hoping he would be properly taken care of. He wasn't. The caretakers of the orphanage were cruel to him. They didn't do anything too extreme lest they incur the Hokage's wrath, but they did all they could. They fed him the bare minimum and the food was not really good quality. They also didn't properly teach him or give him proper living conditions. Naruto resided in the damp basement with an old mat to sleep on and a tattered blanket to keep warm. Luckily his Uzumaki vitality coupled with the healing properties of the beast he contained kept him healthy, or at least as healthy as he could be under such conditions, since he was very malnourished, and he wasn't kept in the best condition based on his dirty and unkempt appearance. But the worst thing they did to him was keeping the other orphans from him, and whenever he did interact with them the caretakers encouraged them to either stay away from him or to bully and ostracize him. The loneliness Naruto felt was truly what hurt him in the orphanage. Despite everything that was done to him, Naruto would always be seen with a cheerful smile on his dirty face. He would always be grateful for what he had, and he would always find the light in a world that was so dark and cruel to him. His attitude angered the caretakers beyond reason. They believed that when he smiled he was mocking them for their losses. Oh, what delusional fools they were. Soon the caretakers of the orphanage grew so angered by Naruto's presence they began doing worse to him than they did before. They gave him less food or sometimes even forgot, and when I say forgot I mean purposefully, to give him any food at all. They sometimes found ways to lock him outside when nighttime came so he would be stuck cold, alone and afraid outside in the dark. They also encouraged the children to up their verbal bullying to physical bullying, and they often punished Naruto for fights breaking out, when in reality it was just Naruto curling himself into a ball to protect himself while some kid attacked him. But despite their increased aggression towards him, Naruto continued to smile and tried to be happy. The young boy utterly refused to let their cruelty get him down, and he refused to let them see him cry. But soon the caretakers grew tired of the cycle, and on the day the Kyuubi attacked they threw Naruto out into the cold street. On the day of Naruto's 4th birthday he had nowhere to go, he was homeless and on the streets. Naruto lived on the streets for a number of weeks, eating out of dumpsters and sleeping in them to survive. The people knew who he was and made his life harder, throwing things at him, glaring and calling him names. There would even be the occasional person that would attack him, but Naruto was quick enough to stay away and his attackers quickly lost interest. Despite Naruto's vitality and the fox in his gut helping him, his condition worsened a great deal due to lack of food and warmth, and that was the reason the cruel people of Konoha that knew he was out on the street, not everyone knew because they wanted to keep it secret from his sympathizers, didn't attack him. They enjoyed watching him suffer. They found pleasure, or in their own words retribution, watching the demon brat struggle to survive out on the streets. The fools never realized that from an outside perspective they would look like the demons in this situation. Though one day while scouring a trash bin for food Naruto was able to encounter one of his sympathizers, a kind man by the name of Tsuchi Ichiraku. Naruto was understandably wary of the ramen chef at first, but the man managed to calm Naruto down and asked him a few questions. Needless to say, after he got the boy's story he invited him to his establishment for some food and he contacted the 3rd Hokage. Once the Hokage arrived he was surprised to see a thin and dirty Naruto devouring ramen like a black hole. He was even more surprised as well as enraged when Tsuchi told him what had happened. Sarutobi then and there made a vow to actively be a part of the boy's life, and he also vowed to better protect the legacy of his predecessor. So Sarutobi spent a while talking to Naruto and getting to know him. He had trouble at first because of Naruto's caution around others, but he found it quite easy to get the boy to open up. It seemed that despite the cruelty Naruto had already faced in his short life he still held on to his happy disposition and his belief in human kindness, something Sarutobi found remarkable about the boy and made his respect for the young hero raise even further. After he and Naruto bonded over ramen he took the boy to his office where he then proceeded to call one of his most trusted umbu that went by the name Kakashi Hatake. He told the young man what had happened and was only just barely able to talk him out of murdering the caretakers of the orphanage with the promise that he would take care of it. Let's just say after Sarutobi got through with them they did not have happy lives. He had Kakashi watch over the boy as he called a meeting. At the meeting he stated that Naruto would get an apartment and an allowance so he could live on his own and that the boy would have frequent visits from himself. Needless to say the council threw a bitch fit while Sarutobi just sat through it with a blank face. After they had quieted down he told them that what he stated was what was going to happen and asked if any of them had any objections. The first civilian to open his mouth lost a few teeth. Sarutobi clearly stated he would not budge on the matter. And so Naruto got his own apartment. It was in a rundown sector of the village, but still nice. Sarutobi had kept his word and would often visit the young boy. Soon he began to see the boy as a grandson while Naruto began seeing him as a grandfather. With the money Naruto received from his allowances he was able to properly feed himself and afford proper clothes. It seemed life was finally looking up for the little boy. Until the people of Konoha learned that Naruto was no longer suffering on the streets. They then began throwing him out of their shops, or forcing others to do so, as well as making him pay outrageous amounts of money for spoiled products. They also began ransacking the boy's apartment by throwing brick through the windows and robbing the poor orphan. They also began treating him with greater disdain while he was on the streets by yelling at him and throwing things at him. Naruto for the first time in his life didn't just put on a happy face and take it. No, he was beginning to get angered and hurt by their actions. Also he was getting old enough to be able to question why people did what they did, and since no one told him the truth of what he contained he viewed people's actions as uncalled for. So he took action to get a little payback on the people of Konoha. Through harmless prancing that at most would require a little washing to remove the damage. This outraged the people, for instead of harmless mischievous acts of a wrong child they managed to twist what they saw as acts of revenge from the demon. Once again they had thrown away their common sense in favor of their anger and rage. Due to their increased scorn for the young boy they ended up taking their so-called retribution to greater heights. One day a drunken man thought to physically attack the boy with a number of his friends. They broke into his apartment in the middle of the night and began beating him. They left the boy with a number of broken bones and hashes. Unfortunately Naruto did as some abused children did, and hid what had been done to him, whether out of fear or because the boy in his kindness didn't want to cause trouble to others. After all, to him physical damage was of no consequence, and he was no stranger to pain, or at least that's what he told himself. Soon the word got around amongst those that hated Naruto about the beating the demon brat got and how Sarutobi had not taken action, though that was because Sarutobi was not notified. Soon other malicious characters made plans on how they could have their own fun. Soon Naruto would end up getting regularly attacked by the good citizens of Konoha. Each attack becoming more demented and cruel. They would cut messages into the boy's flesh and they would also burn or brand him. But always the markings would disappear and the wounds would heal perfectly because of the healing properties of the monster in his gut. Naruto continued to hold in the pain. He didn't want to hurt anyone or hate anyone. Also the people that attacked him had also berated him as well, telling him that no one cared about him and that he was a worthless little monster. They instilled doubt into Naruto's mind, doubt that anyone that was kind to him actually cared about him, like the kind grandfather figure of the third or the kind father and daughter at Ichiraku or perhaps the few Umbu that were kind to him. He feared that if he told him of the beatings that they would think that he was trouble and abandon him. So he kept quiet about the horrible beatings and torturous things they did to him, and he smiled when he was outside just like before. But now the smile was fake. It was just a brave face to try to fool himself into thinking that his life truly wasn't the hell it was. But behind closed doors he would cry and he would show the pain he hid inside. He would cry himself to sleep every night. He couldn't remember the last time he went to sleep with dry cheeks. He would always cry the same things. Why did they hate him? What had he done? Why was he alone, with nothing, with nobody? As one could imagine this raw turmoil on the poor boy's soul. But luckily things didn't continue like this forever. One day after a particularly bad beating, Naruto received a visit from his surrogate grandfather. Despite his healing ability, the damage done to him the previous night had not healed enough for him to make his usual excuse of "I got hurt" while playing to the kind elder man. Naruto tried to send him away, and that immediately told Sarutobi that something was wrong. Soon Sarutobi broke into the apartment to see a broken and heavily wounded Naruto covered in his own blood. Needless to say, he was horrified. He had seen and heard of the hardships Naruto had to face in his life, but nothing could compare to the state he was in then. He could not believe the state of the now 7-year-old boy before him. The boy's clothes were torn to tatters, his hair matted to his head by blood that dyed his once sun-kissed bright blonde hair a horrifying shade of bloody red. His arms were covered in lacerations and gashes. His legs looked beaten, broken and mangled. His chest by far was the most horrifying. It was stained by the boy's blood and covered in twisted messages carved and burned into his flesh. Sarutobi could read out words such as demon, Kyubi, tilde monster, and abomination. The rest of the twisted writing was too illegible to read. But the most heartbreaking was the boy's face. It had a number of bruises and gashes on it, as though it was beaten with a blunt instrument. Blood dripped from the boy's hairline, nose, mouth, and the various wounds that riddled his youthful face. Then there were his eyes. His beautiful sapphire eyes were alight with a mix of sadness, fear and pain as tears freely fell from them and made the blood on his face run. Sarutobi could scarcely believe that this was the boy who would have such bright and happy smile on his face all the time. The boy whose eyes were often filled with hope and kindness and looked at the world with wonder and compassion. After seeing the look his grandfather figure gave him, a look of fear and shock, Naruto broke down crying. Naruto began apologizing over and over again as well as begging Sarutobi not to leave him. The boy truly thought that he would leave him because of the villagers' cruel words. Sarutobi quickly broke out of his shock at the situation and went to take Naruto to the hospital. The boy put up little resistance, and soon Sarutobi had him at the hospital and in the care of one of his most trusted doctors who also happened to be a sympathizer of Naruto's. Needless to say, the man was shocked and horrified by the damage Naruto had endured, and how he was still conscious after how much blood he lost. The man immediately began cleaning his wounds and doing what he could to help the boy. But it was unnecessary as the boy began healing, and due to his accelerated healing soon there was nothing left but a few patches of red skin where his wounds used to be, as well as a bit of blood here and there from said wounds. After the doctor was finished, Sarutobi asked him to leave so he could question Naruto about how he ended up in such a state. Naruto refused at first, but after Sarutobi practically begged the boy and reassured him he wouldn't leave him, Naruto told him what had happened. He told him that he had been getting beaten nearly every day by the villagers for 2 years, but he hid it from him by saying the damage was from ninja training or accidents. Naruto also told him just what they did. The atrocities the people had done to the innocent child drove Sarutobi into a murderous rage. He began to leave the room to hunt down the monsters responsible, at least until he was stopped by a pull on his sleeve from Naruto. The boy begged and pleaded the man not to hurt anyone. He stated that he didn't want to see anyone get hurt because of him. He didn't even care about the crimes done against him. He just cared about the people that had made his life hell for the past 2 years since he began living on his own. Naruto's pleas changed Sarutobi's rage to sadness. He was sad that such a kind and compassionate child that only cared for the sake of others was dealt such a hard hand at life. Reluctantly, Sarutobi agreed that he wouldn't harm any of the villagers, and he stayed until the boy went to sleep. Sarutobi once again felt shame for what his village had become, but he also felt ashamed himself. He was ashamed that he couldn't protect Naruto better and give the boy a better life. God knows Naruto deserved it. But you couldn't really blame Sarutobi. By all rights, the man should have been enjoying retirement and spending time with his family. Instead, he was governing the village and dealing with a council that argued with him on every little decision. He had to fight tooth and nail just to get Naruto the basic necessities to live on his own, let alone get him what he truly needed, such as protection and a caring foster family. It seemed like the old man and Naruto's few sympathizers were the only ones actively trying to not make the boy's life hell. God knows everyone else tried to make it seem as close to it as they could. After that event, Sarutobi tried to get the young boy bodyguards, but as always the council ruined that. Luckily, he was able to get a few trusted Umbu to volunteer to watch the boy when they could. Naruto wouldn't have a 24-hour watch by any means, but at least he would have some means of security. But even still, the villagers managed to get by Naruto's guardians from time to time, and since they no longer could harm the boy as often as they wanted, they made sure that when they get a hold of him they did their worst, and it truly was horrible what they did to him. But Naruto locked away the pain as always and just put on his happy smile. One would never guess that such a happy boy was living a life where being tortured was the norm. Because of this, Sarutobi also tried harder to visit the boy more often, and he also told him that he could come to his office to spend time with him whenever he wanted. It was through this Naruto gained his ambition to become a ninja and his dream to become the Hokage. It started with Sarutobi telling Naruto about ninjas and eventually led to him telling him about the Hokage. After he told him that the Hokage protected the village and was the most respected ninja in it, he could practically see the twinkle of hope in Naruto's eye. So after Naruto told him his wish to be a ninja and to one day ascend to the rank of Hokage, Sarutobi supported him with everything he had. He signed Naruto up for the Ninja Academy and gave Naruto the proper school supplies. It seemed like this would be the turning point in Naruto's life. But once again something just had to go wrong to spite him. Once Naruto entered the academy, it seemed like everyone was against him. The other children were told by their parents to stay away from him, so the young boy's hopes of making friends were immediately dashed. The teachers were even more malicious. They would often wrongly teach Naruto and yell at him for causing trouble despite it not being his fault. They would do everything they could to turn the children against him and make him a laughing stock as well as hindering his learning. There was only a single person who was indifferent to Naruto, a young teacher by the name of Iruka. But even then he simply did it because of professionalism. Iruka didn't hate Naruto per se, but he was weary of the boy due to what he contained. Unfortunately though, because of the neglect Naruto was experiencing from his peers, he became starved for attention. So after the teachers that didn't like him made him into a joke, Naruto just rolled with it. He liked the attention even if it was negative attention, so he became a class clown, and while it may have interfered with his studies in the academy, he felt that it would make no difference, seeing as no matter what he did he couldn't do anything right in anyone's eyes. So that's how Naruto lived for a number of years, going to school, learning nothing while trying to get attention, then going home to his lonely apartment, while hoping the villagers didn't pay him one of their visits. Sure, there were some happy moments like visiting Ikaraku's and his pseudo-grandfather, but those were just a few bright lights in a life filled with traumatic memories and loneliness. But then came an actual turning point in his life, the day he was to graduate from the academy and take the first steps towards realizing his dream. Naruto was finally going to get a teacher that would teach him to be a ninja. That's not to say that Iruka was not a good teacher. In fact, over the years Iruka had warmed up to him and become a good friend and role model to the boy. The man would often help the young boy out and even take him out to eat ramen. It was also thanks to his tutelage that Naruto fully believed he would be able to pass his ninja exam. Sadly though, he did not pass. He had failed to do a simple clone technique. Naruto of course felt horrible, and the cruel words of the villagers he usually received did not help. It was not until he was approached by another Chunnin teacher by the name of Mizuki that anything changed. Mizuki told him about a special graduation test that involved stealing a scroll from the Hokage Tower. Naruto of course believed it because of his natural trusting nature. Soon Naruto managed to steal the scroll with a little help from one of his more unique techniques. Then he went to the meeting place Mizuki told him about and began reading the scroll while waiting for him. After a few hours Iruka showed up, and after that they soon began talking as to what the other was talking about. Then they were attacked. Their attacker was none other than Mizuki, who then revealed that the special test was a lie. Even worse, he told Naruto the true reason why the people of Konoha hated him. Naruto was of course in shock at the revelation, so shocked he didn't notice the giant shuriken heading straight towards him. He was saved by Iruka, who took the hit for him. Iruka told Naruto that he did not see him as the fox but rather his precious student. Unable to take the confusing event, Naruto ran away with the scroll. After a series of events that involved Naruto hearing Iruka speak of his belief towards him, Naruto ended up defeating Mizuki using the technique he had recently learned from the scroll he had stolen. The technique was the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Then Iruka gave Naruto his ninja headband and proclaimed that Naruto was then officially a ninja. Naruto was of course ecstatic, but he still had many questions that needed answers. After everything was sorted out, Naruto sought out his surrogate grandfather to get his answers. It was then that learned the truth. The truth about the beast sealed in him, as well as the events after his birth. Naruto learned the reason why he was so hated, and why he had lived such a tortured life. Sarutobi expected a lot of reactions, such as Naruto breaking down crying or Naruto being thrust into a blind rage as he cursed the villages, as well as Sarutobi's own actions. What he did not expect was for Naruto to give him a confident smile and point at him with eyes filled with determination. He furthermore did not expect Naruto to say that he would show them that he wasn't the Kyuubi, that he would protect the village, and one day prove his worth to everyone. Sarutobi could only stare in awe as a boy who had every right to hate them claimed to become their protector. Truly the village did not deserve such devotion after everything they had done. Sarutobi then told Naruto about team placements and sent him off, only for him to come back the next day and have a crazy run-in with his grandson that somehow ended with them being rivals for his position. Then came the day that teams were to be assigned, and Naruto couldn't wait to get out of the academy and get a team. Naruto really did not like the academy, and if it weren't for Iruka and his wish to become a ninja, Naruto would loathe it entirely. The thing he had to say he disliked the most about the academy was the students. He didn't hate them, but they were extremely annoying with their attitudes about becoming ninja. They acted like it was a game or a popularity contest, and in doing so they neglect their training. Naruto may have not had any ability in the education portion of the academy, though that was due to bad teachers, but Naruto never slacked off on his physical training. Finally Iruka came to give the team assignments. Naruto was truly excited at the prospect of who he would be teamed up with. But when he actually heard the teams he was a little disappointed. He was paired up with Miss No Brain and Only Brains, even though she didn't use her brain for anything but impressing her crush, and he was also teamed up with the lone wolf with an attitude and ego. Sakura Haruna was his female teammate, and she was something no self-respecting woman wanted to become. Her head was so poisoned with delusions of romance with her crush that she didn't realize her actual situation. She had no friends. Her skills as a kunoichi were subpar at best. The only reason she got kunoichi of the year was because of how the council made academics more important than physical aspects. And to top it all off, her personality was in the toilet. She was violent to everyone and she actually thought she was threatening. If anyone but the other completely useless fangirls were to actually try to hurt her, she would get her ass kicked. Naruto had tried a long time ago to befriend her when he saw her all alone, but she responded in her usual violent way and said he was teeing to ask her on a date. Naruto saw that such delusions made her happy, so he just rolled with it, if only to keep the girl from experiencing the pain of feeling alone that he knew so well. Then there was Sasuke Uchiha. This kid was the definition of a self-important jerk. Naruto could understand if he was depressed after what happened to his family, but becoming a jerk to everyone and developing a huge ego is not the way to go about it. Just because you've had a rough life doesn't mean everyone should help you do what you want. He treated everyone as an annoyance, and when people went out of their way to help him, which was a lot since he had a never-ending supply of ass-kissers, he acted as if it was their obligation to do so. He truly was spoiled by how people treated him after the Uchiha incident. But what really pissed Naruto off about the kid was two things. 1. He looked down on everyone and their ambitions simply because his wish to do so. And 2. He didn't appreciate anything he had and could only look at what he lost. Everyone treated him like a prince and helped him while trying to be his friend. What Naruto wouldn't give just for a single good friend, and yet he purposefully isolated himself because he thought no one was worth his time. But all that he could ignore and try to play nice, if it wasn't for their damn egos. They purposefully tried to mess with him and tried to tell him how superior they are to him. Or in Sakura's case, how superior Sasuke is. Naruto just knew the world was against him because of how unlucky he was at life. But then came his sensei, Kakashi Hatake. The man was actually a pretty cool sensei, annoying as hell but still cool. The man even taught him a life lesson that he would never forget during their test. Those who abandon the rules are trash. But those that abandon their comrades are even lower than trash. Those words meant the world to Naruto. It was also reason he tried his best to play nice with his teammates despite their many flaws. Kakashi himself was happy with the team that he got. Sure, there were many problems in all of them. Sakura had no physical skill whatsoever, and in the heat of the moment she didn't use that brain of hers, and quite frankly she was a horrible kunoichi right off the bat. But there was potential. Naruto had a good amount of physical ability. He was plenty strong, fast, and had a good amount of stamina for his age, not to mention his insane chakra levels. But the boy didn't use his head when he got excited and went off without thinking. Not only that, but Naruto had no base skill as his fighting style was like that of a brawler, and he had no control. Kakashi was happy to have his sensei's son as a part of his team, but the boy needed to relearn the basics and get his head on straight. But he was sure that he could become a great shinobi just like his father. Then there came the problem child in one, Sasuke Uchiha. The kid was an excellent shinobi, but that wasn't where the trouble lay. It was the boy's mentality. Sasuke didn't play nice with others and only saw them as nuisances and deadweight. Furthermore, he had a one-track mind and would do anything to achieve his ambition. Kakashi would have to keep an eye on him and try to teach him the meaning of camaraderie. He would try, if at least in some way, to repay his departed friend Obito. And so the turbulent times of Naruto's ninja career began. He went on a number of missions and grew as a person while learning on each of his chaotic missions. His first C rank ended with the liberation of a country, and Naruto learning that when one fights for their special people that you become strong. Then Naruto continued on his career all the way up to the Chunnin exam, where once again his life took a turn for the troublesome. During the Chunnin exam, a rouge ninja by the name of Orochimaru attacked them during the second stage. He ended up trouncing them, and he gave Sasuke a seal called the Cursed Seal. It gave him a dark power that began changing him. It made his lust for power even greater than it was before. Then there was also the trouble with a murderous fellow Jinchuriki in the exams, not to mention the other participants as well. During the training portion of the Chunnin exams, Naruto met a peculiar man by the name of Jiraiya. Naruto's teacher ended up getting incapacitated by said man for interrupting his research. Of course, Naruto didn't let that slide and demanded he replace his teacher. He refused at first but soon relented at Naruto's insistence. Jiraiya taught Naruto much in this time, including the art of summoning toads, a technique that Naruto would cherish throughout his career. But soon the training break was over and the Chunnin exam fights began again. During said fights, Naruto had managed to defeat a very strong opponent, and he was also able to change his heart for the better. But in the end of the Chunnin exams, a war broke out between Konoha and a Sand and Sound alliance. The village fought bravely in defiance. Sarutobi himself fought against the mastermind Orochimaru. Naruto ended up facing against the previously stated Jinchuriki, named Gaara, in an epic battle. In the end, Naruto managed to defeat Gaara and Konoha had emerged victorious in the short war. But there was bad news as well. There were a large amount of casualties. Sarutobi Hiruzen was one of them. His death was greatly mourned by all in Konoha, especially by those that were truly close to him, including one Naruto Uzumaki. But for Naruto there would be no rest. Soon Jiraiya came and took him on a mission to find the new Hokage. Soon they were traveling across Fire Country looking for Tsunade Senju, the woman that was to be the next Hokage. During the search Naruto had a run-in with an organization called Akatsuki. They claimed that they wished to capture all of the Jinchuriki, the purpose why however they did not state. During the confrontation Sasuke showed up to confront his brother Itachi, who happened to be one of the two agents there along with Kisame Hashigaki. Sasuke was soundly beaten and if not for the timely intervention of Jiraiya he may have been killed. After the Akatsuki fled Sasuke was taken back to the village while Naruto and Jiraiya continued their search for Tsunade. Jiraiya also began teaching Naruto the Rasengan, a powerful A-class technique. Eventually they found her and eventually Naruto and Tsunade ended up having a disagreement, by way of them duking it out in the middle of the street. Of course Naruto lost but he managed to get into a little with the woman. The grounds were that if Naruto had managed to complete the Rasengan in a few days she would give him her necklace, which was a priceless heirloom of her family. But if Naruto lost he would give up his dream of ever becoming Hokage. Naruto within his refusal to ever back down accepted it, and began working straight away. He worked on the Rasengan till he could no longer move. It was quite moving seeing him try so hard, even Tsunade felt moved by his efforts. In fact she was so moved by his actions she considered declining her other teammate, Orochimaru, in his offer to her that he made before Naruto and Jiraiya found her. The offer was to bring her loved ones back to life in exchange for healing his hands that were destroyed in his battle with Sarutobi. Then the day came when Tsunade was to give her answer to Orochimaru. She had poisoned Jiraiya and knocked out Shizen, her assistant, so they wouldn't interfere. She acted as if she was going to heal him but in the end she attacked him. However she wasn't able to mount a proper offensive against Orochimaru and his right-hand man Kabuto because of her homophobia and their readiness to use said weakness in their favor. She was then saved by the arrival of Naruto, Jiraiya and Shizen. These three set about protecting her and fighting Orochimaru and his minion. Naruto ended up fighting Kabuto and needless to say Naruto was greatly overpowered by the Sound Ninja. But Naruto refused to back down and fought him to defend Tsunade, something that moved her deeply. In the end Naruto was able to grievously wound Kabuto with a completed Rasengan, thus winning the bet he and Tsunade had made. Tsunade had regained her spirit after Naruto's display of courage and will. She gave Naruto her necklace as promised and stood ready to fight Orochimaru while stating that she would fight him as the fifth Hokage, saying she would accept the job that Naruto and Jiraiya had originally sought her out for. Tsunade along with Jiraiya then fought Orochimaru and forced said snake to flee. They then proceeded to Konoha to get Tsunade sworn in. The village happily celebrated a new leader and all seemed to be going in the right direction. That is all except one certain power-hungry Avenger. Sasuke had grown angry and bitter, or at least more than he was before, over his inability to defeat his brother. He was also angered by Naruto's growing skill and strength as a shinobi. He ended up challenging Naruto to a fight, and they ended up taking it too far by using powerful A-rank jutsus that should definitely not be used on allies. Had Kakashi not broken up the fight they could have seriously hurt each other, or worse. After the fight Kakashi talked to Sasuke about his growing animosity, and he warned the young boy about where it would lead him. But Sasuke refused to listen to his wise words due to his one-track mind that could only think about revenge. So Sasuke, his mind lost in thoughts of revenge, power and frustration, didn't really think to consult his morals when a group of Orochimaru's agents came to offer him a chance to leave Konoha and receive tutelage from the Dark Sannin himself. Of course Sasuke accepted in the end and abandoned his village. Once it was found out his left a retrieval team was created. Konoha was unfortunately low-stocked at the time so said team was composed of one Chunnin and the rest were genin with the ability to be Chunnin. This included Naruto who was dead set on bringing Sasuke back due to their bond as teammates. As they hurried to save Sasuke they met resistance in the form of the Sound Four and their group had to split up each time they ran into another member. Soon they all were fighting their own battles while Naruto moved on alone to bring Sasuke back. They were also aided by a reformed Gaara and his siblings. Soon Naruto confronted Sasuke at the Valley of the End. There Sasuke stated his willingness to abandon Konoha as well as his intention to kill Naruto for the sake of power. Naruto and Sasuke fought and Sasuke attempted numerous times to kill Naruto while Naruto only fought to incapacitate. Sasuke even went so far as to use the Chidori on Naruto numerous times. Had it not been for the healing abilities Naruto had he most definitely would have died many times over. Sasuke most definitely was trying to kill him. In the end Naruto was unable to stop Sasuke from leaving, though no one died which made the mission at least a partial success. After the failed retrieval Jiraiya took Naruto on a training trip. The purpose for said trip was to prepare Naruto for the threat of the Akatsuki. So Naruto left the Leaf Village for 3 long years and during that time Naruto trained relentlessly. Jiraiya trained him into the ground with a number of teachings that strengthened Naruto and prepared him for the threats he would face after the 3-year training trip was over. After the training trip was over Naruto endured many hardships after returning to Konoha. Of course he fought many times with the Akatsuki, but he also ended up facing Orochimaru and his former companion. After Naruto returned he also continued training and learning under his tutors. He became a very powerful shinobi and even managed to best a few of the Akatsuki. But there was also heartbreak as people died as well during the battle with Akatsuki. Team 10 Sensei Asuma died, as well as his own sensei later in a fight against the Akatsuki Pain. Naruto was heartbroken by the loss of a man he began to see as an uncle and role model, but thanks to the encouragement and help from those that truly cared for him, he was able to move on and do his best to prevent such a thing from happening again. After Jiraiya's death, Naruto was trained by the Toads in the Sage Arts. The ability would greatly heighten Naruto's ability as a ninja. It was also thanks to this ability that Naruto was able to best Pain when he attacked the village. Pain ended up destroying the village and killing many people before Naruto showed up though, and the sight of the destroyed Konoha greatly angered Naruto. So Naruto fought Pain and eventually defeated him with some difficulty. But Pain's original body wasn't there. Naruto went and confronted Pain's original body that was in the form of a frail man by the name of Nagato. Instead of fighting, they argued their ideals. In the end, Naruto was able to convince Nagato that the way he was going about things was not the way to peace. Nagato decided to place his faith in Naruto and sacrificed himself to bring the people he had killed back to life as a way to repent for what he had done. After that, Naruto returned to the village, but instead of being thanked like one would expect, many people blamed Naruto for what had happened. The people had learned that the Akatsuki were after Jinchuriki and managed to rationalize that Naruto could be blamed, and that's what they did. There were a few people that truly did thank Naruto though. For instance, Naruto's friends and supporters. There were also a few civilians and ninja that used to have the common low opinion of Naruto that changed their minds because of what he did. Naruto was upset that he still was unable to change the people's opinion of him, but he did as he always did. He smiled and kept trudging forward with hope. Soon the people of Konoha began rebuilding their village and things began gaining a shred of normalcy. That is until Akatsuki made their next move. A gathering of Kage was called, and at the gathering the true leader of Akatsuki declared war on the 5 great nations. Sasuke showed up as well and assaulted the Kage. He even managed to kill the representative for the Hidden Leaf Danzo. He had become the representative due to Tsunade being indisposed because of the Pain debacle. Sasuke had stated that he was going to get revenge on the Leaf Village for his clan. He had become obsessed with revenge. To stop Naruto from going to the front lines, a newly recuperated Tsunade decided to hide Naruto along with Kumo's Jinchuriki killer bee on an island that only Kumo knew the whereabouts of. Naruto would train while on the island and hopefully he would be better able to protect himself for it. The other leaders agreed and Naruto was shipped off to the island. At first Naruto and Bee didn't really hit it off, but soon they managed to become friends. Bee also agreed to train Naruto to control the 9 tails. Naruto was able to, with some help from Bee and the consciousness of his mother that was sealed inside him, gain control of the 9 tails power, and with it he gained a considerable leap in power. He also started trying to understand Kyuubi. So Naruto trained as the war raged on the outside. The enemy's army was comprised of Zetsu clones and the reanimated dead. All the villages and Naruto's friends were fighting in the war. They fought against Hiruzen friends and family, all for the sake of the ninja world. Now of course Naruto would become a part of the war some way. He became a part of the war due to his newfound sensing abilities. He was able to sense the emotions of people thanks to his new ability, and when he left the area he was training at on the island he was able to sense all the negative emotions of the war. Naruto then attempted to leave the island, but the Shinobi Alliance tried to stop him. But with some help from Bee, Naruto then proceeded to the front lines. Thanks to Naruto and his clones' help, the tide of the war was turning in their favor. Naruto was irreplaceable when it came to weeding out the Zetsu clones that managed to seamlessly disguise themselves amongst the shinobi. Naruto was also valuable at stopping a few of the resurrected ninjas such as the Third Raikage. He also aided the Hokage in fighting the resurrected Madara Uchiha. But that didn't really help much, seeing as it was Madara and the Naruto that was fighting Madara was clone. Meanwhile the real Naruto was fighting against the masked man that led the Akatsuki, along with the resurrected Jinchuriki that also had their Biju as well. Naruto fought against them, but they were too much. In fact, if not for Kakashi and Gai's timely arrival he might have been captured. Then Naruto, Bee, Guy and Kakashi began fighting against the Jinchurikis. But if things weren't hard enough before, they were now, because Tobi had the Jinchuriki release their powers and become the Biju the contained. It seemed like they were going to lose until Kyuubi offered to help Naruto. He stated that he believed in Naruto. Naruto then worked together with Kyuubi, or as he called himself Kurama, to stop the Biju in hopes of freeing them. He found out that it would be much harder to save the trapped Biju, but they all placed their faith in Naruto. After that though, things just kept getting worse. First they learned that the masked man was really Obito, a former Konoha shinobi. Then the resurrected Madara joined up with Obito to fight against them, not to mention the 10 Tails got revived and was under the 2 Uchiha's control. Then, and big surprise here, Sasuke showed up and once again sided with the madman against the people that cared about him. All because Sasuke wanted revenge, and he just couldn't stop blaming people for the problems in his life. Then the Shinobi Alliance shows up and fighting ensues. Many people die and the people in the center of it all end up swapping ideals and beliefs. Then after a lot of fighting and chaos, Naruto ends up getting Kurama taken from him, as Bee also had Gyuki taken from him. Bee would survive due to the bond he shared with his Biju. Naruto however would have died had Obito not chosen to believe in him and steal back all of Kurama's chakra and put it into Naruto, sacrificing his own life to do so in the end. After Obito stole back Kurama's chakra from Madara, he ended up suffering from a clash in the chakra from the other 8 Biju sealed in him. Without all of them he didn't have the 10 tails, but rather 8 Biju trying to break out of him. Madara had to retreat lest his plans completely fail. The Shinobi Alliance tried to stop him, but he wasn't considered one of the greatest ninjas in history for nothing. So with Madara gone and his forces going into hiding with him, the allied shinobi could only recuperate while looking for said madman, that and train. After Naruto woke up from his near-death experience, he felt horrible. So many people had died and still the war wasn't over. He kept thinking that if he was stronger then maybe he might have been able to save them. Or at the very least the war would be over rather than postponed. But Naruto quickly broke out of that line of thought. He wasn't one to dwell on what could have happened or what might have been. No, he worried about what he was going to do, and he knew exactly what he was gonna do. He was going to get stronger so things would be different next time, and he knew just the two people he was going to go to for help. After asking them for help in training, Kakashi and Guy couldn't really refuse the boy. After all, he was the key to victory or defeat in the war. The reason Naruto asked these two in particular was because he knew just how powerful they were. Kakashi was his sensei, so of course he would know that the man was strong. Then there's Guy. After seeing the man fight in the war, Naruto couldn't help but respect the man. His taijutsu was amazing and the 8 gates was a truly fearsome technique. Naruto was also now able to use his clones to their full potential, with Kurama no longer hindering him in any way and in most cases helping him deal with the backlash of his training method. Naruto was able to spam as many clones as he could. So when they started, Naruto made a large group of clones to go with Kakashi so Naruto could train in chakra control as well as ninjutsu and elemental manipulation. Meanwhile, Naruto would have another group of clones learning new taijutsu styles while the real Naruto trained with Guy to bolster his physical abilities. He even got his own weights. So for 6 months Naruto trained his ass off. He only slept or ate the minimum of what was required and every other waking moment was spent on cold, merciless training. But the training paid off. Naruto had gotten much better chakra control and his control over the wind element was amazing. Naruto had also branched off to learn to control the other elements to an extent. None were anywhere near as good as his skill with wind, but still okay. With Guy, Naruto had learned a number of taijutsu styles and Guy had even taught him the 8 gates. Naruto had also gotten much stronger and faster due to Guy's training along with his weights and Kurama healing him. Naruto had also branched out to learn Fuinjutsu and Kenjutsu. He wasn't a master in Kenjutsu, but thanks to his clones he was close and he took to Fuinjutsu like a duck to water. He actually did make it to master level thanks to how much effort he put into it. Naruto's friends were astounded at how far Naruto had grown in half a year. They wagered that Naruto was now the strongest person in the Shinobi Alliance thanks to his training and newfound abilities. Seeing his strength had given many people hope. Madara may have been forced to flee the last time, but he was still one of the most powerful ninja in history. But with Naruto's newfound strength they now had their own ace in the hole. And right on time too. They had received word from some scouts that were sent out to find Madara had actually found him. But it was more like he let them find him. They saw him in broad daylight at an abandoned fortress alone. They knew better to engage, so they left and reported the sighting. The veteran ninja all knew what Madara was doing. He was baiting them into a final confrontation, one that would decide the fate of the world. Their best hope of winning was Naruto, but Naruto was also the final piece Madara needed to win the war. But they had no choice but to take the bait. They couldn't wait for Madara to amass more forces, and they needed to stop him to end the war. So they amassed their forces and put together a plan. Madara had an army of Zetsus, but that wasn't the main problem. The main problem was Sasuke, Madara and the 8 Biju sealed inside the former's gut. Altogether they were dealing with an army, 2 skilled ninja, one of which was the current strongest on either side, and 8 powerful chakra monsters enslaved to said man. Things were better than they were before, but still grim. So they formed their army and marched to the abandoned fortress. Everyone was on edge due to worry of how this battle would turn out. Except Naruto though, he fully believed they would win and his attitude helped cheer up many of the soldiers. Finally they arrived to see exactly what they expected, an army of Zetsus waiting for them. They spared no words as both sides quickly charged. They met in a fury of slashes, blood and body parts as both sides fought one another. Every ninja fought with everything they had. Every ninja from every village fought with all their strength. Even the Kages fought on the front line for their future. Meanwhile Naruto cut a straight line towards the fortress knowing his targets waited within. The Zetsus seemed all too happy to let him through. Naruto was soon in the fortress and looking for his 2 targets, and he knew just where to look. Given their egos they would be in the highest place in the central area of the fortress. A perfect place to watch the carnage like the madmen they were. Soon enough one of his targets came to him. Sasuke Uchiha blocked his way while he wore the same "I am superior to you" smirk he liked to wear. As soon as Naruto stopped, Sasuke tried to insult him in hopes of ticking the blonde off. But Naruto remained stone-faced and didn't say a word. As far as he was concerned this was just another insane enemy. The Sasuke that was his friend died long ago. Naruto then attacked and they began fighting. Sasuke soon lost his smirk when he saw Naruto's newfound power, and he also noticed that Naruto was no longer trying to incapacitate him. No, Naruto was aiming to kill. With Naruto's newfound strength Sasuke was easily pushed into a corner. While the Uchiha had trained as well during the 6 months reprieve from the war, his training was nothing compared to Naruto's. Naruto then, without mercy or regret, struck the final blow against the man that was once his friend. He then left to face Madara without looking back. Naruto soon ascended the final flight of stairs and reached the highest chamber in the fortress where there seated in an extravagant seat on the far end of the room wearing the patented Uchiha smirk was Madara Uchiha, the creme de la creme of evil assholes. Soon the two began their banter, stating their obvious in this point of time objectives and beliefs. Then they talk about why the other believes in what they believe in only to receive a shocking and inspirational speech as an answer. Then they get to the fun part that involves drawing their weapons and meeting in an epic clash. Naruto may have gained a great deal of skill and strength in his near spirit-breaking training, but Madara was just as powerful as he was and he held the edge in experience and skill. Still Naruto fought valiantly and it seemed for a while that Naruto and Madara were even, but Naruto was tiring quickly because of the energy he had to put into fighting Madara as well as the taxing nature of the first few 8 gates that he had opened to get in. Edge on the resurrected man. But even then Naruto came up short fighting him, evidence being Naruto in his knees and looking like he just got the crap beaten out of him. Madara looked like he got the crap beaten out of him as well, but he still looked fresher than Naruto, which wasn't really saying much since they both looked like they belonged in the morgue. Madara had a smirk on his face due to the current advantage he had. Give up, boy, you've lost. I must commend you though for the effort you've put into this war. I haven't felt like this in battle since Hashirama and I fought at that valley. Naruto grit his teeth, he couldn't be beaten here. He then forced himself to his feet and pulled his large sword into a ready stance. Picture Oren's sword from Final Fantasy X, only slimmer in the width department. Quit talking like I'm already beat, you bastard, I'm not done yet. With that they leapt back into battle with their respective weapons, Naruto with his sword and Madara his katana. They met in an impressive display of kenjutsu, especially considering they both looked half dead. They looked perfectly equal in a battle of salesmanship. Until Madara saw an opening and drove his sword into Naruto's thigh. The attack forced Naruto to a knee, allowing Madara to jump back and do the hand signs for an all-too-familiar jutsu. This will end it. With that, Madara thrust his now lightning-encased fist forward. Naruto raised his sword in an effort to defend himself, but the wear and tear it had suffered from the earlier battles resulted in the sword breaking and Madara's attack hitting him right through the heart. Madara smiled. I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is the end for you. But don't worry, after you die I'll take the Kyuubi as it leaves your corpse and finally bring peace to this rotten world. Madara then pulled his arm out of Naruto's chest and allowed him to fall forward. Then Naruto stomped his foot on the ground to stop his descent. He then threw a punch that nailed Madara right in the jaw and sent him flying several feet away. Madara got up and looked at Naruto in shock. It's not every day that the man whose heart you just tore out slugs you in the face. Impossible. Naruto was panting and spitting up blood as he straightened his back up to stand tall. The sight of Naruto doing anything at all shocked Madara since he knew he got the boy's heart with his last. How was he alive? I told you. Don't talk like it's over until it's over. With that Naruto activated the rest of the inner gates. He figured he didn't have long to live anyway, so he might as well go all out. After the gates were released, Naruto disappeared and reappeared next to the still shocked Madara. He then started wailing on him with his fists. He threw Madara all around the room with his beatdown, and Naruto did not let up in the slightest. Then he punched Madara into a wall and he began punching him at such a speed that it looked like Madara was glued to the wall while having a seizure. Then Naruto formed a Rasengan in his hand and drilled it into Madara's chest. With a yell, the Rasengan drilled into the villain until it exploded, sending Madara through the wall he was pushed up against. Madara landed in another room with his back on the ground. He just stared at the ceiling with a dumbstruck look on his face. Naruto then stumbled into the room and walked next to the defeated Uchiha. He then started to do hand signs to release seal on Madara and set the Biju free. How? A weak voice spoke. How did you defeat me? How did you survive? How did you become so powerful? Naruto looked at the beaten man as he kept doing his hand seals. Because unlike you, I fight for my precious people. I have something that's worth fighting for, worth dying for. Mascara closed his eyes. I see. Naruto then finished his hand seals and placed his hand on Madara's chest. Now it's over, Madara. Finally it's come to an end. Then the room was flooded with a bright light as Naruto released the Biju. I kept my promise, everyone. Outside, the shinobi army had just finished the last Setsuclone when they noticed a bright light coming the fortress. The 8 individual balls of light came out of the top of the forest and shot off in different directions. The shinobi were at first confused about what this meant until someone shouted out. He did it, Naruto did it, and like that everyone began cheering, believing the war was final over and their hero had won. Well, everyone but one person. One Kakashi Hatake was worried rather than happy, and that wasn't going to change until he saw the state his student was in. Without a second thought, Kakashi quickly rushed towards the fortress determined to find his young student. It didn't take long for Kakashi to find signs of fighting, and after following said signs it didn't take him long to find blood. Whether it was Naruto's or his opponent's he didn't know. Then he came to the room that Naruto fought Madara in. The place was torn apart, though Kakashi expected nothing less from the battlegrounds of 2 such powerful ninja. He then saw the hole in the wall, and it didn't take long for him to figure out the fight didn't end here. He walked to the hole and readied himself for what he might see. When he saw what lay beyond the wall, his heart clenched in pain. There, laying against a fallen pillar, was Naruto's unmoving body. Kakashi immediately could tell what killed him. After all, not many could survive a hole through the heart. Kakashi knew something like this might happen, but that didn't dull the pain of seeing another of his precious people dead. Kakashi slowly walked to Naruto's unmoving body, and when he reached it he knelt down to get a better look at the face of his now deceased pupil. When he looked at Naruto's face, though, he couldn't help the small smile that came to his face at what he saw. Naruto was smiling. Even in death Naruto kept that infectious smile that just had the power to change people's hearts. Kakashi placed his hand in his still student's head. You did it, Naruto, you did it. With that, Kakashi picked up the fallen hero's body and started making his way towards the exit of the fortress. Once he reached the exit, he heard the telltale signs of people still rejoicing the end of the war. That was until Kakashi stepped into view. Every shinobi that saw Kakashi, or rather who he was carrying, stopped celebrating. Rather than the happy atmosphere the shinobi army had before, they all adopted a melancholy look once they caught sight of their hero. Then Kakashi began walking, and shortly after the shinobi alliance began following him. What once was a mass of celebrating people was now a funeral procession for their fallen hero. He deserved nothing less, after all. He was their hero. And so ended the life of Naruto Uzumaki. Blue eyes opened up to look at an endless terrain of darkness. Then slowly, cautiously, Naruto Uzumaki rose to his feet, though he didn't know what he was standing on since he was in an abyss of nothingness. Hello, anybody there? Naruto took another look at his surroundings. Yep, whole lot of nothing. Where the hell am I? Suddenly he felt a presence behind him. Naruto prepared himself for confrontation before quickly turning around to see an older red-haired version of himself. Hey man, how's it going? To be continued. Ch2 second chance. Naruto just stared blankly at the red-haired version of himself. He had had some weird days in his life, but this was just a little too confusing for him at the moment. You okay there, buddy? Naruto almost jumped when the other person talked. He even sounded like him. Naruto then registered what the other man said and responded. Why yeah, I'm fine, but who are you exactly? The man gave off a Cheshire grin as if Naruto just said the magic words he wanted to hear. I'm glad you asked. The man then struck a pose and began speaking in a dramatic fashion. I am the great, the almighty, the infamous and most revered man that has ever walked the planet. My deeds have been talked about for centuries for their greatness, and my legend is known to all. I am the one, the only, the sage of six paths. He ended with a flourish and a dramatic pose. Naruto just stared at him with a blank face until, okay, nice to meet you. If you don't mind, I'll just take my leave now. He then turned around and began walking away at a quick pace, eager to get away from the obviously crazy guy that claimed he was a man that had been dead for centuries. Not to mention that guy acted way too much like Pervy Sage for his liking. Meanwhile, the crazy man just stood still while he watched Naruto speed walk away. Then he got a look of realization on his face. I just got ditched. He then started running after Naruto. Wait kid, there's a lot of stuff I gotta tell you. Naruto was currently walking around looking for anything that could tell him where he was, but all he saw was an endless expanse of nothing. Great, I have no idea where I am or what the hell happened, not to mention I don't know how the hell to get out of here, and the only other person here besides me is a crazy guy that thinks he's the sage of six paths. Can this day get any worse? Wait, Naruto looked behind him to see the crazy man that he was just talking about running after him. Shit! Naruto then promptly bolted in the opposite direction of the man. He knew from experience that avoiding crazy people was usually wise. Wait kid, hell no, I'm not stopping so I can get attacked by some loon. Well, who you calling a loon, you little bastard? You're a loon because you're crazy. Who the hell is crazy enough to think there's some guy that's been dead for hundreds of years? But I am the sage of six paths. Yeah, and I'm Madara Uchiha's mother. The so-called sage then stopped with a twitching eye. Fine, then you want to play that way, then let's play. He then watched Naruto as he ran out of sight. Next he turned 180 degrees and waited. Soon enough he saw Naruto running towards him. Said boy didn't notice him since he was looking over his shoulder for the man that he thought was still chasing him. How lost him. He looked ahead only for his eyes to widen when he saw the person he just lost standing right in front of him. He then felt said man's open palm on his cheek as he was slapped to the ground. Naruto looked up at the red-haired man with a hand on his now red cheek and the other hand pointed at him. What the hell? How did you? Science bitch. Naruto was silenced by the man's words. He officially had no idea what the hell was going on. The red-haired man smirked at this. Oh, finally shutting up now, are we? Maybe now you'll accept that I am the sage of six paths and listen to my words of wisdom and awesomeness. Naruto was sure of it now. This dude was off his rocker. You're crazy, the sage smiled. Damn right I am, the best kind of crazy, the kind that's awesome. Now are you gonna listen to what I gotta say or not? Like I'm gonna sit here and listen to some crackpot that thinks he's some guy that's been dead for the past couple of centuries. I've got to get out of here and find everyone. The sage shook his head in exasperation. Man, Naruto, you really need to work on your listening skills. Naruto stopped at that. How do you know my name? Like I said, I'm the SA. Naruto cut him off right there. Quit saying you're the sage of six paths. The sage frowned. Kid, this is gonna be a whole lot easier if you just accept I'm the sage of six paths. Or at least just pretend for the time being. Come on, what do you say? I'll be your best buddy if you just play ball. Naruto sighed. Well, what did he have to lose from indulging the crazy man? Okay, sage, what do you want to tell me? The sage began wagging his index finger in front of Naruto's face chidingly. Ah, Naruto, I'm not gonna tell you anything with an attitude like that. You're gonna have to refer to me with proper respect. I got it. From now on you shall refer to me as Super Mega Sage of Awesomeness. He looked really proud of the name he thought up, like it was the coolest thing since sliced bread. Meanwhile Naruto developed eye twitch in his eye. He didn't have time to deal with this. Sai, can I just call you Sage for short? He looked to be contemplating his request. Super Mega Sage of Awesomeness allows this. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, what is it you've got to tell me? Ever eager, aren't we? Very well, I suppose we should start with where exactly here is. Naruto looked around and the endless horizon of darkness that surrounded them. Yeah, that's a good place to start, Sage nodded. Well, to put it in layman's terms, this place is sorta like a plane between planes, or the transition between one realm to another. It's called, I'm not really sure what it's called, so let's just call it the world in between. Naruto scoffed at the name. That's the best you've got. Sage gave Naruto a little glare. Yes, I'd like to see you come up with a better name, you little turd, and since I found it first I get to name it. Naruto put his arms up in mock surrender. Okay, I get it. Just keep telling me what I need to know. Sage nodded. Fine, but no more interruptions. Now, like I was saying, this is a realm between realms. It's basically just an expanse of nothingness that just goes on forever. Like, remember when you were running away from me and I stopped, then you ended up running into me? That's because this place is like a box. Go too far in one direction, you'll eventually run into one of the sides of the box and end up coming out of the opposite side in the same direction as you were going before. As interesting as all this is, I don't really care. Now Sage was in a corner with a rain cloud over his head and muttering about disrespectful brats not realizing his awesomeness. Naruto's sweat dropped at the sight. Are you okay? Sage didn't answer. Naruto sighed at the so-called Sage's immaturity. Now he knew how other people felt when dealing with him. Sai, can you at least tell me why I'm here? Super Mega Sage of Awesomeness. Naruto hoped that last bit would help him with the crazy man he was dealing with. Sure enough, the man was standing proud again, like he was not just sulking like a little kid. Well, I suppose I could bless such a lowly being such as yourself with a bit of my infinite wisdom. Naruto was starting to develop a twitch in his eye, as well as an intense need to kick a certain redhead's ass. Just tell me what I want to know before I murder your ass. The sage waved him off. You could try, as many others have before you. I believe you on that. Naruto commented on the fact that such an annoying guy most definitely had a few people that wanted to mount his head on a wall, which was kinda weird envisioning since he looked so much like him. Whatever, let's just get back to the lecture. Now, where was I? Oh yes, the reason you're here in the world in between. Well, it's pretty simple why you're here. After all, you're dead. What? Naruto quickly shouted in shock. He couldn't be dead, he just couldn't. He had responsibilities and things to do, like bring peace to the elemental nations. Naruto tried remembering his last moments before he lost consciousness and ended up here, but his memory after his fight with Sasuke was a little blurry. There's gotta be a mistake. I can't be dead, I just can't. Sage sighed. Naruto, you're in denial. It happens to everyone when they die, even me, and I died of old age. If you still don't believe me, let me give you a little recap of your last minutes of life. You and this guy named Madara were fighting. You were beating the crap out of each other, then Madara's fist gets covered in lightning, and he shoves it through your heart, then you proceed to hand Madara his ass on a silver platter and save the world. I gotta admit, it was pretty amazing how you didn't die immediately after getting your heart torn apart, but no one can survive having their heart destroyed. Unless you have a spare heart, get revived or you are immortal. That's lights out, man, no exceptions. His words didn't help Naruto in the slightest. Naruto was distraught at the revelation of his demise. Even more so since after Sage's recap Naruto was able to remember what happened in the last moments of his life. Naruto now knew without a doubt that he was no longer amongst the living. Sage saw the boy's distress and tried to cheer him up. Come on, it could be a lot worse. Naruto glared at the red-haired man. Could be worse? Could be worse. I'm dead, this is at the end. You literally cannot get worse than this. I died at the age of 17 and I've done nothing with my life. Now Sage was glaring at Naruto. Now I'm normally an easygoing guy, but don't ever say something like that to me again. He spoke in a voice that held nothing but seriousness, a far cry from his usual goofy persona. Haven't done anything with your life, bullshit. You've done more in your 17 years of life than anyone before you has done with their full lives. You've helped countless people throughout your life, you've saved countries, reignited people's hope, you've stopped countless scumbags across the entire globe, and you did it all because you thought it was the right thing to do. You didn't do it because you wanted it or for some sort of glory, no, you did it because you wanted to help others. Even after all the crap you've endured throughout your life, you stayed a good and selfless person. You even went so far as to forgive the people that made your life a living hell, and you even helped them when a lesser man would have just washed their hands of such people. You never left anyone behind either. You always gave your all for every last single person, no matter how insignificant they were. And to my shame, you did the one thing for the world I never could. You brought peace to our world. Naruto looked up, shocked at Sage's words. I really did all that. Sage rolled his eyes. And to top it all off, you're humble and don't let all the stuff you did go to your head. You trying to make the rest of us look bad? But yeah, you did all that stuff, including the part about bringing peace. Naruto's eyes widened at the last part. Really, I brought peace. Sage gave an exaggerated sigh. Yes, it's not like I just told you did 3 times already. You just enjoy rubbing it in my face that you could do something I didn't, don't you? Sage finished with a mock pout. Naruto seemed to lighten up at that. He even chuckled at the sight of Sage's pouting face. Well, maybe a little. Naruto then gave Sage a sincere smile. Thanks Sage for cheering me up, I needed that. Sage gave Naruto a small sincere smile. "'Twas nothing kid, you're welcome." Naruto then unleashed one of his megawatt smiles. "Besides, I shouldn't get depressed. I'm Naruto Uzufreaking Maki. I don't get depressed no matter what. I also don't give up no matter what, and that's my Nindo." Sage's smile then got a sad tint to it. He was thinking about what he was going to show Naruto next. "Naruto, come over here, there's something I need to show you." "Oh, what is it?" "Just come over here and I'll show you." Naruto walked up to Sage and stood beside him. Sage then waved his hand and the air rippled until 5 separate images appeared. Each image showed one of the 5 great ninja villages, and on each image it showed people celebrating in the streets. It looked like a giant worldwide festival when Naruto looked at all the images together. "They're celebrating?" Sage smiled. "Yep, they're all celebrating the end of the war, something that you brought them. All these people are happy, alive and free, all thanks to you." Naruto smiled and felt tears of joy welling up in his eyes. He couldn't believe that his actions gave happiness to so many people. "I can't believe it. All of this is because of me?" Sage patted him on the shoulder. "You need to stop doubting my words, kid. Just accept it, and give yourself a pat on the back. You did good, Naruto." Sage allowed Naruto to continue watching the happy scene for a little while longer. "Naruto, there's something else you should see." "What?" Sage sighed sadly. "It's not pretty what I've got to show to you next, but you deserve to know." Sage then waved his hand and the images changed. They now only showed one image depicting a place Naruto knew all too well. Naruto happily called out its name. "Konoha." "Yeah, Konoha, just keep watching, kid, it's gonna turn sour real quick." Naruto looked at Sage quizzically. The image changed though, so Naruto gave his attention to the new scene it showed. Like previously stated, it showed Konoha, or to be more specific, it was showing a number of civilians and ninja, mostly Chunnin, celebrating like the previous images showed. Naruto looked at Sage with a confused look. "I don't get it, what are you talking about?" Sage gave Naruto a completely serious look. Just keep watching, or better yet listen." Naruto didn't know what he was getting at but followed his advice. He began listening to what the ninja and civilians were saying as they celebrated. A number of ninjas and civilians were making merry with alcohol and various decorations and party favors that made the atmosphere seem like one from a festival. They were also talking animatedly with one another. "Man, this is great, the war is over." One inebriated, middle-aged Chunnin spoke out in happiness, a sentiment that was soon shared by a number of people around him cheering in agreement with him. Another man came up and began adding his own 2 cents. "Yeah, but that isn't the only good news. Don't forget about the other problem we had dealt with thanks to the end of the war." The other people heartily agreed. It seemed that even though he didn't name said problem, people gained a bit of vigor just at the mention of it being dealt with. Naruto wondered what the second problem was. As far as he knew, the only problem was the war along with Madara Uchiha and his ambition. But despite his confusion, he still had a small smile on his face. He couldn't help but be happy that people were happy thanks to his efforts, even if he was now dead. Meanwhile, Sage was standing back a few feet trying to calm his stomach that was apparently trying to do somersaults and worry at what he just knew was gonna happen next. He knew it wasn't gonna be a pretty sight, and he without a doubt would feel disgusted about what he was going to soon see. A spirited civilian then raised a glass of sake he had just been indulging in. If the shade pink on his cheeks told the truth of his inebriation. "Yeah, that's right. In fact, we should have a toast for this great victory for the forces of good." The rest of his party-going friends then raised their glasses as well in agreement to the idea. Another then began talking. "Yes, cheers." Another then took up what he was saying. "To the end of another war." The Chunnin from before began talking. "And everyone." His last word was a call to the everyone to complete the toast. "The end of that damn demon brat." They then drank heartily from their glasses and began laughing in happiness at their declaration. A civilian woman then gave her own opinion. "Good riddance, that demon was nothing but trouble ever since he came into the world." Like a floodgate was let up, soon the half a dozen strong group was joined in their conversation by almost everyone on the street, every last one of them stating their dislike for the hero that saved them. "Yeah, now that he's gone we don't have to deal with that obnoxious brat anymore, nor his pranks. Little bastard was nothing but a nuisance. Thank goodness he's gone. I just didn't feel safe at night knowing someone like him was allowed to roam free." Yeah, and the little twerp said he was gonna be Hokage, as if, but he did manage to corrupt a few of the higher-ups. He might have actually had a chance to be Hokage. Could you imagine the demon in power? It would be the end of all of us and the village. He's dead now though, so we don't have to worry about that monster anymore. You said it. They then continued having fun and celebrating, as if they didn't just insult the hero that saved them all. Truly, human stupidity was limitless, and these people were perfect examples. Sage was watching from behind Naruto, just waiting for him to explode in a fury of emotion at what these people were saying about him after everything he had done for them. But Naruto just stood motionless. That actually managed to unnerve Sage more. Before they began insulting him, Naruto would occasionally move, but now Sage couldn't even tell if he was breathing. If he wasn't already dead, Sage would be checking just to make sure he wasn't. Then he caught sight of something that he knew would cause some problems, as well as push him off. Just then a Chunnin called to someone not seen on the image that Naruto and Sage were looking through. Weren't you on a team with that demon?" The image then panned over to a girl with unmistakable pink hair, Naruto's old teammate Sakura Haruno. She was with everyone else that was celebrating, But rather than look merry, she didn't look too happy while drinking a bottle of sake. She turned around and replied to the man's question. Yeah, I was, so what? The Chunnin gave a bit of a sinister glare. Then you knew him firsthand. Why don't you tell us about how much of an idiot that demon was from your own experiences? Sakura just shrugged her shoulders. Fine, first off, he was an idiot. The moron could never do anything right, and when he did it was only by accident, or one of us was helping him. Such a useless idiot. Not to mention he was all talk. He said he'd bring Sasuke-kun back to me and he didn't. All of this would have been avoided if he just wasn't so incompetent. The dobe shouldn't have been a ninja, let alone have that stupid dream of being Hokage. He always was just a stupid dobe. Yes, Sakura lovers, she's playing the bitch in this one. I don't hate Sakura, but I did heavily dislike her before the time skip. After it she got better, but she still has her moments when she returns to the character I heavily disliked in the first half. Also, I can't stand that she still has feelings for Sasuke after all the crap that happened. She doesn't even know him that well since he barely ever talked to her. I'm happy she and Naruto aren't getting together because I'm a Naruhina fan, but still. Anyway, I'm done with my rant, so please continue reading the story knowing that while I do not like Sakura, I do not hate her either. It's just easy to make her the bitch. The people listening into what Sakura had to say just burst out into smiles and laughter at her words. They took pleasure in being reassured in their beliefs from someone that knew him. Hey, you said it. As if that demon could be anything but a stupid loser. They then continued throwing dirt on Naruto's name, and having fun by putting down their savior. Sage just knew that if he was there he would give those people a piece of his mind, and his foot placed squarely up their collective asses. Hell, if he was there he'd have the good people of Konoha work as his footwear 24/7 for the crap they were spouting. Sage then looked towards Naruto with concern, which soon changed to worry when he saw Naruto's shoulders shaking. Sage took a shaky step forward, ready to comfort the blonde. Hey Naruto, it's not so bad. Naruto suddenly threw his head up, startling Sage and stopping him from completing his sentence. He was even more surprised when instead of a yell of emotional anguish from Naruto he heard laughing. Naruto was laughing like he just saw some really funny physical comedy happen right in front of him. Ha 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 ha, well, if I'm so stupid and useless, then why do you need me to save you at Baka's? That's right, Naruto Uzumaki saved all your asses and took out Madara Uchiha. I'd like to see an idiot do that. I'm the one that ended the war and I am the greatest ninja of all time. Naruto Uzumaki is the best. Throughout his little speech Naruto had a large Cheshire grin on his face, as if he was proud that he knew that those people's cruel claims were simply a bunch of idiots blowing out hot air. Sage had his jaw slack at the sight of Naruto smiling while the people he saved dragged his name through the dirt. He couldn't believe Naruto didn't have a trace of anger on his face, and his smile was most certainly sincere. Naruto didn't hate these people in the least, not one shred of anger, hate, or disgust was portrayed in his actions, words, or posture. It was like he forgave them for their cruelty. He was then broken out of his astonishment as Naruto continued to act merry despite the people's words. Naruto pulled his eyelid down and stuck his tongue out at the images. Blebakawayas, I saved the world and that's way more than any of you can say. Guess I proved all you jerks wrong, and what was that about me not being able to be Hokage? If I was still alive you'd already have started carving my face up on that mountain. How? The silent question broke Naruto out of his reverie. He turned to Sage, who was the only person who could have asked said question as there was only two of them. How what? Naruto didn't really know what it was Sage was asking him. How can you forgive them? After all you've done for them and after all the pain they've caused you over your life, how can you forgive them? They've made your life a living hell ever since you were a kid. They hunted you down like an animal and tortured you in the name of justice against the demon that wronged them. Not only that, but they isolated you and made you feel alone your entire life. You didn't have anyone to talk to at all until you were almost a teenager. Then you saved them time and again from invasion, enemy ninjas and the Akatsuki, and they still don't give you your due. And finally you give your life to end a war and protect them, and all they can do is insult you for it. So how the hell can you just brush it off and forgive these people? Naruto was a little taken back by Sage's rant. He did not expect the man that normally acted like a goofball to suddenly get so serious. Naruto then put a hand behind his head, a clear sign of his nervousness, and answered. It's just I never really got the whole hate and revenge thing. I always just thought of it as stupid. Sage raised one of his eyebrows as a sign of his own confusion. You mind explaining? Well, like I said, I just thought it was stupid. I mean, sure, someone might have wronged you or done something really horrible that affected you, and it hurts. God, I know it hurts. But if you hate that person for it, it's only going to hurt more, even more so if you try to get revenge. If you hate someone, that means you remember what they did to you and you keep remembering as long as you hate them. Then the pain that would have faded stays as long as you hold on to your hate, and if you try to get revenge you become obsessed with it, and you end up hurting others. After that happens, then a whole cycle of hate, pain, revenge and sadness follows. Before you know it, you and everyone around you are trapped, and you just can't stop hating because that has become your whole purpose because you let it be. Sure, what they did to me when I was a kid and what they said to me and about me my entire life hurts. In fact, I don't think it will ever stop hurting. But I'm not gonna let that stop me. I'm gonna keep being happy and try my best. I won't let them bring me down. Sage looked at Naruto with awe. He couldn't believe someone so young could say such words of wisdom. You really believe that? Naruto happily nodded. Yep. His smile then gained a twinge of sadness in it. Hey, you want to know something? Something I've never told anyone before. Sage was curious as to what could make Naruto give such a sad smile. Sure, once when I was a kid, during one of the beatings the villagers would give me, I felt broken. I wondered why they were beating me, and what I could have done wrong. Then I felt so alone and sad I just wanted to die if it meant I didn't have to feel so horrible. I then got angry. I began to hate them for the pain they caused me both physically and emotionally. I then caught my reflection in a broken mirror. I remember the look in my reflection's eyes. I just knew that those eyes were the eyes of someone that was hurting on the inside, someone that was breaking from the pain. Seeing myself in the mirror just made me madder and angrier at the people when I looked at my reflection as they beat me to a stain on the floor. I then looked up at them so I could glare at them and hopefully let them know my pain. But when I looked at them I was shocked. Their eyes were the same eyes I saw in my reflection. They were full of anguish and pain. I then thought that these people must feel what I feel right now, so something must have made them feel like this. After that I couldn't hate them. I pitied them. They felt the same pain and yet they wanted to spread the same thing they felt to others. How horrible it must have been for them to where that was the only way they could deal with it. I promised myself that I would never become like them, that I would never deal with my pain by causing others pain. It was then that I forgave them for everything they did to me, and it was then that I wanted to take away their pain along with anyone else that had those same eyes. It was then that I became who I was. Sage just stood silent as Naruto told his tale. Truly this boy didn't cease to amaze him. Naruto, there's something I've got to tell you. Really, what? Sage suddenly had a huge smile on his face. You pass. He then threw a bunch of confetti into the air and began waving a pair of flags with Naruto's smiling face depicted on them. Naruto had absolutely no idea where he got the confetti or flags came from, and he couldn't even try to think of it right now because he was once again thoroughly confused. Oh Hukake, what exactly did I pass? Sage stopped dancing and wrapped his arm around Naruto's shoulder. Oh dear sweet simple Naruto. He ignored Naruto, stating that he was gonna punch him in the face. Don't you think that I had a reason other than showing you this to bring you here? Naruto scratched the back of his neck with a sheepish expression on his face. I actually thought this was the reason you brought me here. Sage looked at him with a blank face. If I just wanted to show you this crap I could have waited for you on the other side instead, or coming to meet your ass halfway. No, I came here for a different reason. And that reason would be? Naruto was curious as to why the Sage of Six Paths would want to seek counsel with him. And yes, he now fully believed this guy was the Sage of Six Paths. Why not? He's a good guy. That reason will be told at a later time because I enjoy torturing you with suspense. Yes, Sage liked being a bastard, it was just way too fun. For now keep watching. Naruto didn't really want to keep watching the people of Konoha slander his name. It didn't really get to him, but he really didn't like it. I don't know, relax, trust me. With Sage's urging, Naruto reluctantly looked back at the image. The image once again showed the people celebrating before it panned over to two people passing by the gathering on the streets. These people were Kotetsu Higain and Izumo Kamizuki, two well-known Chunnin of Konoha. Both of them looked at the people who were insulting Naruto with disgust. Kotetsu in fact looked like he wanted to go over there and start a riot. Can you believe these people, spouting that crap after that kid saved all of us? Kotetsu said angrily. One could easily hear the anger and disgust rolling off his words. It just showed how angry he was at the people's actions and words. Izumo nodded. I know, but what can you do about it? Izumo didn't like the situation either, but he kept his anger under control unlike his friend. I can go over there and give those ungrateful bastards a piece of my mind. Kotetsu practically snarled as he began walking towards the gathering of people, hellbent on releasing his anger. At least before Izumo stopped him with a hand on his shoulder. Wait Kotetsu, you can't just go over there and start cracking skulls. Izumo said that, but personally he wouldn't mind joining in on some skull cracking with Kotetsu right now. And why not? They're insulting the person that gave his life to save our asses. Without him we'd either all be dead or under the thumb of that man. It was easy to see that Kotetsu was angry at the situation and wanted nothing more than to kick the collective asses of every person that dared insult their savior. But Izumo's grip held firm. Izumo sighed. Look Kotetsu, I know what they're doing is wrong, but you can't just go pick a fight with them because of it. Today we're supposed to celebrate the end of the war, not to start a personal one over a difference of opinion. I say let them say what they want because we know the truth. Naruto Uzumaki was a hero and every last thing they're saying about him couldn't be farther from the truth. We along with the entire elemental nations know that. They're the only ones that don't. Kotetsu reluctantly reined in his anger and turned around. Come on Izumo, I can't stand being around these people any longer and we're going to be late if we don't hurry. Izumo nodded and began following his friend away from the gathering of people. Naruto had a small sincere smile on his face from watching the two Chunin's conversation. Wow, I didn't think that. You didn't think that people would think of you as such a great hero? Naruto looked back at Sage as the man gave Naruto a cheeky smile. No, not really. Sure, I thought people would see me in a better light, but I didn't think they would call me a hero. Naruto spoke with utter sincerity. Sage's smile got a bit larger as he walked up to Naruto. Well, keep watching, it gets better. And so Naruto did. Kotetsu and Izumo continued on their way until they eventually ended up at the street a well-known ramen stand was. And on said street was another gathering of people that, much like the other, was celebrating as well. This gathering was filled with familiar faces that Naruto knew in life. A number of Leaf Village citizens and ninja that he had gotten acquainted with whilst he was amongst the living. Izumo, Kotetsu, what took you guys? The asker of said question was none other than Genma Shiranui, a Jounin rank ninja. Izumo looked a little apologetic. Sorry, we had to wait for our shifts to end at the gate. Just because we're at peace with everyone doesn't mean we shouldn't watch out for undesirables. Yeah, but even so, I was worried you guys wouldn't make it. Kotetsu gave a grin. Come on, we wouldn't miss this. I don't even think Kakashi is gonna be late for this one. By the way, you think we have enough time to get a drink before we all go? Tenmanga rolled his eyes. Of course, right this way. Genma led them both to the Ichiraku ramen stand that seemed to be catering the entire gathering. 2 drinks Tucci, for these 2 knuckleheads right here. Genma said in a joking manner. Tucci, the owner of the little ramen stand, smiled. Coming right up, boys. Soon there were 2 saucers of sake on the table, and soon after that the 2 Chunnin thanked the stand owner before each picking up a saucer and downing its contents. Kotetsu happily sighed after ingesting the alcoholic beverage. Who that hit the spot, nothing like a good drink after some hard work. Izumo looked at his friend with a slight frown. Hard work? I do believe I'm the only one out of the 2 of us that's done work. You just sleep or try to get out of said hard work. Kotetsu just waved his serious friend off. Whatever, hey Tucci, keep him coming. Genma smiled at the 2's antics. Do try not to get drunk too fast, you 2. If you do remember, the reason we decided to meet up here was because we have somewhere to be soon. Kotetsu once again waved off one of his friends. Relax, we can handle it. Besides, we've got a reason to celebrate. Kotetsu's smile then changed into a frown. Unlike those other people, can you believe the crap they're saying over there? The others within hearing distance of him frowned as well. Yeah, I know. It's a damn shame that people of this village are acting that way. Genma spoke with sincerity in his tone. It almost makes you feel ashamed that our village is the only one with people in it who would say such things about a hero. Tucci decided to say his piece on the matter. After Tucci's declaration, though, they spent a few minutes in silence, because to tell the truth they actually were a little ashamed that only their village had such people in it. The silence was ended, however, when I.M. came out of the back of the ramen stand and made an announcement. Everyone, it's time. Like that, the flip was switched and everyone stopped what they were doing and began leaving. Even the Ikarakas closed up shop and left as well. It wouldn't take long for anyone to notice that they were all headed in the same direction, the direction of the Hokage monument. As they walked, other people joined them, both ninjas and civilians, in their trek towards the Hokage monument. When they finally reached the Hokage monument, their numbers had grown to be several dozen people strong, and by the looks of it, people were still catching up as they began ascending the Hokage monument. When they reached the top, they saw a sight that one would not normally see. There was a large congregation of people from all over the elemental nations. And it wasn't just people from the 5 great ninja villages either. No, there were people from Wave, Spring, Vegetables, Birds, Moon, Waterfall, Hashigakure, and a number of civilians and ninja from other villages that Naruto had somehow aided during his time as a ninja. At the front of the gathered people, near the ledge where the Hokage's faces were, was the 5 Kages waiting next to a shrouded object for the people to get organized so they could start whatever it was they had gathered for. Soon enough, though, everyone had gathered into organized lines in front of the Kage and waited. The Hokage, Tsunade Senju, stepped forward. Thank you all for coming. As you all know, we are here to honor the deeds of one remarkable shinobi. Tsunade's voice was loud and clear on the large plateau at the top of the Hokage monument due to the silence of all the other people present. We are here to honor the deeds of one Naruto Uzumaki, and how he has managed to help all of us through our connection to him. Though I do wish to remind you, we are here to remember Naruto, not to mourn him. To all the people who knew Naruto well enough, you would know that Naruto would not wish for us to be saddened by his passing. Rather, he would want us to be happy and strong. He would want us to be hopeful and working together for a better future, the future he gave us. Everyone smiled and lightly clapped at Tsunade's words, wholeheartedly agreeing that Naruto would indeed not want them to be saddened or depressed by his death. When the clapping stopped, Tsunade continued. Now people will be allowed to come and talk about their experiences with Naruto, and seeing as I'm already talking, I might as well start. Tsunade then cleared her throat for what she was going to say next. When I first met Naruto, we didn't really get on the right foot. I didn't see a ninja with great potential. I didn't see anything more than a loudmouth brat with his head in the clouds. That, and I really didn't like it when he called me Bachan. Her last sentences got a few chuckles from those that were privy to Naruto and Tsunade's interactions. But no matter what I said or what obstacles were in his way, he would do what he set out to do. That was something we all knew him for. When he said he was going to do something, he did it. Instead of chuckles this time, she was met with a number of nods or other manner of indication that the audience agreed with her. That was the thing about Naruto that made him special. He did what he could for the sake of others and the sake of his ideals. Over the time that I knew Naruto, I watched as he changed from that little loudmouth into a strong and capable ninja. And I want you all to know that if he was still with us now, he would be in my place right now as the Hokage. That is all I have to say. Tsunade then retook her place amongst the Kage as Gaara took her place to speak to the people gathered. When he lived, I was proud to call him my friend, but I did not always see him as such. When I first saw Naruto, I thought of him as a weakling, though back then I never viewed anyone in a favorable light. But later on I was able to see how strong he truly was because of his beliefs, and what a fool I had been in my own I believe that one gains strength from caring for yourself and only yourself, but he taught me that fighting for those precious to you is what makes one truly strong. Once again the crowd nodded in agreement to the words spoken. The next time I saw him, Naruto had once again saved my life despite our differences. I aspired to see the world as he did. I tried to have the same determination and hope for the world as he did, and because of that I now live for the sake of others and my life has never been happier. Thank you Naruto for everything. Gaara then stepped down and moved back to where he was before allowing someone else to take the stage. The next person to step up was Iruka Umino. I met Naruto back when he first joined the academy. At first, like many others, I didn't expect much from him. But he proved me wrong. Despite how hard it was for him in the academy, he would always smile and try his best despite others calling him a failure and putting him down. If anything, that made him try harder. It was his attitude that made me take notice of him, well, that and his penchant for pranks. Many people from Konoha lightly laughed and smiled as they remembered some of Naruto's more memorable pranks. After that I began bonding with Naruto. I began seeing Naruto for what he really was. He was the epitome of determination and hard work. He never gave up no matter what the world threw at him, and he always protected what was precious to him. Over time I began to see Naruto as a brother as well as a student, and right now I can say from the bottom of my heart that I truly am proud of him, for all that he has done. Iruka then made his way back to his seat while he tried to stem the flow of tears that threatened to fall from his eyes. One by one people came up to talk of their own experiences with Naruto, each of them speaking of the blonde with nothing but respect and fondness. Countless people took a turn talking like Tsunade and Inari from Wave, Shibuki from Waterfall, Koiki from Spring. There was also a number of people from Konoha that spoke like Ayam and Tuchi as well as his classmates. Guy, Kakashi and Yamato also took a turn speaking of their time when they taught him and lead him on missions. Hell, even B spoke about him in his usual rapping manner, though no one seemed annoyed that he did so. They all had one thing in common though when they spoke. Everyone tried to keep the smile on their face despite how desperately they wanted to cry at the loss of their friend. They did this because they knew Naruto, and because they knew Naruto they knew he would want them to smile and be happy rather than depressed and crying. After everyone had finished speaking, the sun was beginning to set and the 5 Kage gathered around the shrouded object in front of everyone. They then pulled the shroud of said object to reveal a statue. This wasn't just any statue, mind you. No, this was a statue of Naruto Uzumaki himself. It showed Naruto in his shinobi garb, a pair of pants tied with tape at the end along with a long-sleeved shirt with a Chunnin vest over it, and finally Naruto's sage cloak to finish up the look. The Naruto statue was smiling while holding his large sword over his shoulder. The statue looked out over the Leaf Village as if it was Naruto himself watching over it. Gaara then stepped forward and began talking. This statue was made as a reminder of the hero that saved us all and allowed us to experience this new era of peace. But not only does it represent Naruto but what he stood for as well. It stands for Naruto's belief to always do what is right and to always protect what is precious to you, also to always have hope and never give up. After Gaara's inspirational words, everyone enthusiastically clapped. Naruto was crying tears of joy after seeing what all his precious people had to say to him. He couldn't believe that he meant that much to so many people. He had no idea so many people cared. Awesome, isn't it? Naruto turned around to see Sage with his usual smile. Not many people get to view their own funeral, and even fewer are mourned to such an extent. Naruto smiled and wiped his eyes. Thank you, Sage. Sage waved him off. I don't mention it, now then. Let's get back to the real reason I decided to bring your ass here. Naruto was indeed curious as to what the so-called real reason Sage brought him here, because for the life or rather afterlife of him he couldn't think of what it could be. Okay sweet, so what is it? Naruto couldn't help but lean forward in anticipation. Sage leaned in as well to heighten the suspense. Now Naruto, the real reason I brought here is going to be told to in just a little while. Naruto's face faltered at Sage's words while said man was laughing his ass off at Naruto's expression. Naruto looked up at Sage with a smoldering glare. Sage smiled. I know I am. But anyway, let's get on with this, gotta hurry up. For this part I'm gonna have a little help in explaining things to you, so everyone come on down. After that 3 orbs of light descended down to the ground, or rather their level since technically there was no ground. When the orbs hit the ground there was a bright flash of light that temporarily blinded Naruto. When the light died down Naruto's eyes widened in shock. There standing before him was 3 people, though technically one of them wasn't a person he thought he would never see again. In front of him was his parents Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki along with the Biju that was sealed in him all his life, the Kyuubi, or as Naruto knew him after he befriended him, Kurama. Naruto didn't know what to say, but luckily he didn't have to say anything as his mother ran up to him and embraced him in a hug with tears flowing down her eyes. Naruto soon had similar tears traveling down his own eyes as he hugged her back. Soon afterward he felt another pair of arms encircle him as his father joined in on the family hug. I can't believe it, you're both really here. Despite the fact that he was technically dead, he was still surprised to see his deceased parents, but he was still happy to see them regardless. After a while they broke the hug. His mother still had her hands on Naruto's shoulders while Minato got in front of him and held his mother in a one-armed hug. All still had fresh tears of joy on their faces. Naruto, we're so proud of you. Kushina spoke with pride and joy in her voice as she looked at her son with obvious love and adoration reflected in her eyes. You really showed them, son. Minato spoke with the same feeling in his voice, but it was calmer compared to Kushina's tone. Thanks Mom, Dad, that means a lot. Naruto himself looked as happy as he could be. I mean, how couldn't he? For the first time since his infancy they were all together as a family. It was really all he could hope for. Ahem, oh yeah, how could he forget it wasn't just him and his parents here. He also had the joy to be in the company of the Biju that was sealed in him since birth, and somehow managed to befriend in the later part of his life, and a crazy dead sage that was extremely annoying. Sorry Kurama, forgot about you for a second there. It's alright, I understand. By the way, the other Biju send their thanks. Also you did good, you annoying little brat. Kurama had a fang smirk on his face as he finished. Naruto gave his own smirk as he replied. Thanks for ball. Any further conversation between the four was interrupted by a sniff coming from the fifth occupant of the space they were currently in. They looked over at him to see he was comically crying while blowing into a handkerchief. Sob, this is just sob, so sob beautiful. I love family reunions, Sage cried out with gusto. The other four looked at him with sweat drops forming on the back of their heads. Have you guys already met him? Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately. Naruto nodded after receiving the 3 confirmations. Good, that means I don't have to introduce you and explain why he's like this. Yeah, you don't, we've already seen all this. Kinda hard to imagine that this is the Sage of 6 Paths. Kushina said. Naruto perked up after his mother's words, he thought of something. Hey Kurama? The Biju looked away from Sage to look at his previous container. Naruto pointed at Sage, who was now clenching his fists and talking about reunions with tears flowing down his eyes reminiscent of a spandex-clad duo's actions at times. Is that really the Sage of 6 Paths? Naruto asked. Kurama sighed. Yes, that is him, the one and only Sage of 6 Paths. Let me guess, you didn't expect him to be so. Kurama paused as he tried to think up the right words to use. Batshit crazy. Well, at least he was accurate. Naruto absent-mindedly nodded at Kurama's assessment of the Sage. Yeah, I mean he's just so crazy and annoying. Yeah, well, you got it easy compared to me. That guy is the closest thing I have to a father. Can you imagine being raised by that? Being a beast of mass destruction is a much better option than what I could have been. Just look at Shikaku. Naruto did think about how bad Kurama could be with the crazy Sage's parentage, and it scared him. Yeesh, you're right, that is scary. Kurama nodded, but then the giant kitsune suddenly paled at something that was made clear very soon. Kurama! Sage came flying from out of nowhere and attached himself to the giant Biju's cheek, much to said Biju's annoyance. I met your Jinchuriki. Papa is so proud of you. Kurama then tried to pry Sage off of his cheek, only to result in his cheek being pulled. It was quite a comical sight to see, a giant Biju failing to remove a human that was only just a little bigger than his eyeball. Yeah, great, wonderful, now will you get off of me? Hey, where's the love? Come on, I raised you well, it wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad? Need I remind you that you were the one that drove Shikaku Bat's hit crazy? Naruto gained some interest in the conversation at that. Wait, he was the one that drove Shikaku insane. What the hell did he do? Kurama looked at Naruto with the utmost seriousness. He kept on messing up Shikaku's Zen garden. Naruto gave Kurama a shocked look. That crazy-ass Tanuki had a Zen garden. He used to until this asshole got through with him. He finished up by pointing at Sage, who had detached himself from Kurama's cheek during his and Naruto's conversation. PFT, he overreacted. It wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad. You kept on drawing messed up pictures in the sand and making sandmen. You even flooded it once when you tried to make your own personal beach. Then there was that one time you got it into your head to turn it into your own personal golf course. But then you realized you hate golf. Okay, I'll admit in hindsight the golf course thing was a bad idea. But I fixed it. You blew it up, you maniac. So, that counts as fixing it, in a way. Besides, my private beach idea was a pretty good idea, at least until everyone had to go and spoil my fun. Also the drawings and stuff, it was just funny. I mean, did you see his face? It was priceless. And if I remember, you were laughing too. Of course I was laughing, but you were supposed to be the responsible one. Their conversation then degraded into a shouting match that eventually caught the attention of the Uzumaki Namikaze family, who had began talking amongst themselves about Naruto's life while Kurama and Sage had their family argument. The family was watching their back and forth banter with giant sweat drops on the back of their heads. I think I see the family resemblance, Minato said after watching the banter between them for a while. It's kinda obvious now. Kushina spoke in agreement with her husband. Yeah, no kidding, hard to believe that bastard Madara is that guy's descendant. It just so happened that after he uttered those words, Kurama and Sage stopped their arguing, and Sage caught the last bit of his sentence. What the hell are you talking about? That douchebag isn't a descendant of mine. That confused Naruto. But Madara said that the Uchiha and Senju were your descendants. Sage sighed at that. Okay, listen up. I'm only gonna say this once, and I'm not good at history. In fact, it's my worst subject. The Uchiha and Senju are not my descendants. Back when I was alive, I knew their ancestors, but I wasn't their father. I was like a father to them. I took them under my wing, taught them, trained them, and helped them out a lot. But I had only one kid. But then how did he get the Rinnegan? Naruto asked. Sage gave him a deadpan stare. Saints and genetics happens to be a close second on my list of worst subjects, you figure it out. I for one don't have time to look at the guy's family tree to figure out how it happened. All I know is that sometime between the Uchiha I know and the Uchiha you know they got their little case of pink eye, and after that some crap happened that allowed the bastard. You beat the ability to gain my awesome eyes. I'll say it again, I had only one kid and her last name wasn't Uchiha or Senju. Naruto was curious at that. What was your kid's name? Sage got a happy look on his face. My daughter's name was Akane Uzumaki. Now Naruto was shocked. Wait, Uzumaki, then that means, Sage smiled. That's right, kid. It means I'm your great 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 great. Let's just say that a lot of greats later I will say grandfather. What, you didn't think that your awesomeness was spontaneous, did you? No, that shit's genetic. Naruto couldn't believe it. The Sage of Six Paths was his ancestor. Then that means I'm your. Sage rolled his eyes. Yes, my descendant, like I didn't just tell you that. I wonder how someone like you ever got married. Sage then got a dreamy look on his face. Ah, my dear sweet Hitomi, you are my angel. And to answer your question, Kurama, she knew awesomeness when she saw it. Kurama snorted. When are you gonna learn that awesome people don't say they're awesome, they just are? Now Sage was the one that snorted. Like you, a clearly an awesome person, would know. Kurama leveled a glare at Sage. What did you say, you annoying jackass? Minato stepped in to try to defuse the situation before it started. Gee guys, come on, we shouldn't be fighting. We still have to Ayawan, they're not listening anymore, are they? Sure enough, Kurama and Sage were back to arguing. Naruto and Minato were ready to wait until Kushina stepped forward and placed her hand on her husband's shoulder. Let me handle this, honey. She then took a step towards the arguing duo, and in a flash they were both on the ground with bumps forming on their heads. Minato chuckled uncomfortably. Hee thanks, honey. Kushina gave a sweet smile. You're welcome. Kurama and Sage then began to get up from the ground they were just acquainted with. Damn, I forgot what she's like when she's pissed. Just like Hitomi, scary. Now are you two going to stop fighting so we can get to the reason why we're here? Kushina looked very intimidating with her shaking fist held up, a vein pulsing on her forehead and an all-too-sweet smile on her face. Yes ma'am, / yes ma'am. Good. With that, Sage got up and walked to Naruto. Naruto. Yes? The reason we brought you here is, in a way, to reward you for all you've done. Naruto blinked. Reward me? Sage nodded. Yes, and does Polly want a cracker? Sage was clearly ribbing on Naruto for his tendency to repeat him. At least he was still. Kushina raised her fist threateningly. I mean yes. Just don't let her hurt me. Naruto smiled and mouthed a thank you to his mother before turning back to Sage. So how exactly are you going to reward me? Sage smiled. I'm glad you asked. Your reward is new life. Naruto perked up at this. Since he was dead, that was really the best thing he could have asked for. So you're going to bring me back to life in the elemental nations? Sage waved his index finger in a no fashion. No kid, you had your chance there. You did a spectacular job, but you died. Your life in the elemental nations is over. The only way you're going back is as a zombie or some other means that we aren't going to be doing. No, when I say new life I mean it. We are going to send you to another dimension so you can start over with a clean slate. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. It still sounded pretty cool, but he wanted some info first. Okay, how are you going to do that? Sage grinned happily. Once again, glad you asked. You see, a long time ago I made a technique that basically made a bridge to other dimensions. The problem with it was I couldn't send anything living or physical through the bridge because it would be destroyed crossing over. But I have a way around that. You see, while physical stuff can't go through it, non-corporeal energy can, such as chakra and souls, which is what you currently are right now. Naruto held up his hand like one would in class. Wait, I'm a soul? Yes, because you're dead. Please try to keep up. Now where was I? Oh yeah, what I plan to do is send my chakra across to the other dimension and use it for eye technique, which allows me to create stuff out of my chakra. You knew this ability as Pain's ability to make those black rod things, however mine is more advanced. With this skill I'm going to make you a new body, and then I'm going to send your soul across with a bit of chakra so I can use my human path to shove your soul into your new body. Voila, new body, new world, ergo new life. Naruto took a minute to comprehend what he was being told. That's it. Sage gave a cheery smile. Yep, I even used a similar process to create some scouts to scout out the various dimensions we had to choose from. After all, we wanted to pick a good world to send you to. We looked through all kinds of different worlds looking for the right one. Some were too violent, some had too much turmoil, some were too boring, some would be too difficult to transition for you. We found a bunch of nice ones that we considered would be a good match, but we just couldn't find the one funny story. Me and, surprisingly, your mother wanted to send you to a world filled with sexy, horny and fertile women, but your dad and Kurama put an end to that. I understand if you're pissed at them, for being the bloody blocking jackasses they are. While that world did sound nice, Naruto was shocked that his mother would be the one to want that for him. And Mom, why would you want to send me there? I want grandbabies, damn it. Yes, she wants grandbabies, damn it, anyway. We kept looking and we were worried we weren't gonna find a good place to send you. but then we found it. This world was perfect, it wasn't in turmoil, it was a pretty happy place to be, it wouldn't be too difficult to transition. I mean, for Cammy's sake, it even had the same language. That is an awesome bonus because you would not believe all the confusing languages other dimensions have. In addition, the world is very similar to ours, only with a few things taking the place of certain things in our world. Yep, it's gonna be perfect for you, especially with the new tricked out body we're gonna give you. Naruto nodded at that. The world did sound nice, and not having to learn a new language was of course a definite bonus. But he was a bit confused at a few parts. That sounds nice. But what do you mean things replacing things from my world, and what do you mean tricked out new body? Sage pointed at the other two people, plus Biju, in the void they were in. If you have any questions, ask them. That's their job while I'll prepare things for you. After all, we have to do all this preparation work right before you go. I mean, could you imagine if I made your new body and then we explained all this crap? You'd have a group of kids poking your new body with a stick before you even got a chance to use it. Anyway, they'll explain everything, Daddy Sage out. He then walked away to do the preparations he talked about. Meanwhile, Kurama was trying to stem the headache he was getting from his father's actions and words. Sigh, does he even think about what he says before he says it? Sage yelled from where he was, almost out of sight. I fade in and out. Minato and Kushina then prepared to tell their son about his new home and life, while ignoring Kurama's annoyed mumbling about idiot fathers. Well, Naruto, I guess we should start by telling you about the world we're gonna be sending you. Minato started. Naruto nodded. Yeah, that would be a good place to start. Minato nodded and began. First off, the name of the world we're sending you to is Earthland. Sounds unimaginative, Naruto said with a blank face. Minato shrugged. We didn't name it anyway. One thing you should know about this world is that they don't have ninja or ninja techniques. Instead, these are replaced by mages and magic. Naruto had to interrupt there. Wait, mages? Magic? Are you talking about street performers and pull rabbit out of a hat kinda magic? Because if you are, that world sounds a little screwy to me. Minato chuckled at his son's assessment. No, these mages are not magicians. In fact, they are very similar to ninja. Only instead of ninjutsu they have magic. As for explaining the magic, well, Minato was trying to think of a way to properly explain magic so his son wouldn't get the wrong idea. Luckily his wife stepped in. I'll explain, honey. Now, Naruto magic is very similar to jutsu and other ninja techniques, but there are some key differences like the energy used, the manner one executes these techniques, and how one learns them. First, instead of chakra they use etanano. Etanano is very similar to chakra, only it is more spiritual than physical when compared to chakra. It is also easier to use, and apparently only 10% of the people in the world you're going to can properly utilize it to perform magic and become mages. Another difference is magic is much more diverse. There are countless types of magic in the world. Some of them are rather practical, such as the ability to use fire or lightning. Some, however, are a lot more complex and strange. Like some could allow you to manipulate space and time to an extent, and an example of a strange one would be the ability to shoot glue out of your body. But while they are diverse, they are also harder to learn, because unlike ninja techniques you need to be more committed to magic. Now, if this was a year or even a few months ago, all of that would have gone over Naruto's head. But thanks to the responsibility thrust onto his shoulders during the war, Naruto learned that he had to be more attentive when someone gave him information. After all, the information could be used to make him stronger and more competent, so he would be able to save more of his friends. Since Naruto kept this mentality, he was able to properly absorb the information his mother was giving him. Naruto also noted that his mother's tones sounded kinda rehearsed. He guessed they must have already worked out what they were going to say to him beforehand. Wait, what do you mean committed? Naruto asked. What I mean is that rather than learn various techniques like we ninjas do, mages learn different magic. They need to learn a style of magic before they can learn any techniques. For instance, if a ninja wanted to learn a jutsu to throw a fireball and a jutsu to shoot lightning out of his hands, all he would have to do is learn the hand seals and meet the requirements to do the jutsu, such as chakra control or capacity. If a mage wanted the same abilities, he would have to learn both fire and lightning magic. It takes a while before someone could adequately learn a new form of magic, so oftentimes mages will only know 1 to 2 types of magic so they could focus on them and become more adept them. Another difference is that while we use hand seals to use our jutsu, they fully control their magic. This is because their magic has a more spiritual than physical essence to it. This makes magic both easier and harder to control, because while they don't need to use hand seals, they have to properly control their magic. So they have to learn how to control their magic properly before they can use it. Naruto nodded. Right, I think I got it, thanks Mom. Kushina looked at her son with a stern look. You better got it. It took me forever to memorize all that crap. Naruto laughed a bit. Don't worry, I got it. Minato then stepped forward. Well, then I should continue telling you about the world. We've already covered magic, and I think you know now that mages are Earthland's version of ninjas. You should also know that mages also take up similar duties to ninja. They take missions like ninja, and they receive these missions from guilds. These guilds are basically Earthland's version of hidden villages, only they're not villages. They're more along the lines of clubs that mages join and receive missions from. As for missions, they have carrying difficult like ours do, going from D to S rank missions. Mages are allowed to pick their own missions. All they require is a ranking as a mage equal to or higher than the mission they wish to take and the consent of the guild master, who is like the Kage of the guild. Also these missions, while similar to the missions ninja take, are a little different. They have chores, courier missions, monster slaying and even missions that involve shutting down dark guilds. On that note I should explain dark guilds. Dark guilds are basically guilds that accept unsavory missions such as assassination, robbery and any mission that involves breaking a crime. Stay away from them, they're bad news. Naruto listened with rapt attention as his father explained what was to be his new home. He was fascinated with all the new things he was going to experience. His father continued talking about other factors of Heartland such as currency or government. Naruto couldn't help the wave of excitement building inside him at this second chance at life. He then heard his father finish his lecture. Well, that's all you will need to know for now about the world you're going to. Now it's Kurama's turn to tell you about your new body and the modifications that have been made to it. Kurama then stepped forward to begin his portion of the lecture, that is until Sage came back with a happy smile on his face. Hey guys, I'm done on my end. Naruto looked at him. Really? That was fast. The Naruto was then interrupted. Hold on Naruto, I recognize that smile. The giant fox then got into some sort of staring match with the ancient sage. They just stared at each other with an occasional blink. Sage's face was in a smile while Kurama's was straight and serious. They stayed like that for a while until, you turned his new body into a girl, didn't you? The giant fox's words received different reactions, anger from the only female, wide-eyed shock from the two blondes and finally Sage waving his arms while trying to deny the fox's accusations. What? No, of course I didn't do that, I would never. No one looked convinced and one of the blondes changed their look from shock to pissed. Guess which one? You did what to me, you son of a bitch? If you guessed Naruto, then go get a cookie, you deserve it. Sage saw no reason in denying it. Okay, fine, I did turn you into a girl with your new body. But come on, it's funny. Kurama shook his head at his father's antics. No, it's not funny, it's traumatizing. How would you feel if you all of a sudden were missing the thing between your legs? Sage was about to answer but was silenced by Kurama before he had the chance. Wait, hold your answer. I have a feeling you're going to find out pretty soon exactly what it feels like. Sage felt a shiver go down his spine at Kurama's words coupled with his sinister smirk and an intense feeling of foreboding. What do you mean by that? Kurama simply pointed in the direction that Sage suddenly felt a large amount of killing intent coming from. He slowly turned to see a very pissed-off Kushina with her hair ominously floating in the air. Kushina loudly cracked her knuckles. So you were gonna screw with my chance at being a grandmother for a joke? Sage could only look at her in fear while having flashbacks of the punishment his own wife dealt to him when he did something that particularly pissed her off. He was broken from one of these memories of pain by Kurama's deep, and in Sage's opinion evil, laughter. I suggest you go change him back, before she decides to put the fear of Uzumaki women back into you. Sage paled even more at that. Little known fact about Uzumaki women, you piss them off, you better have Kami herself between you and any woman you ticked off, otherwise you most certainly would regret ever angering them in the first place. Sage quickly groveled before Kushina, one of the few known techniques to defend oneself from a pissed of Uzumaki woman. He then proceeded to beg for his life. Please don't hurt me, I'll do anything, just don't hurt me. I'll change him back right now, I promise. Kushina's knuckles gave another crack, causing Sage to flinch, before she spoke. Hurry up. Sage was off like a bullet, and while he was running he kept chanting out. Not he face, not the 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 face. Soon Sage was out of sight. Naruto pointed to where Sage ran off towards and chuckled uncomfortably. He didn't really change my body into a girl, did he? Kurama gave Naruto a deadpan stare. I can most assuredly guarantee you that he did in fact do that. Now Naruto's uncomfortable disbelief changed into anger. He what? That jerk, he actually tried turning me into a girl. I swear to God that if he does anything like that again I am going to murder dash. Naruto just remembered, all of them are technically dead, so he couldn't murder him. That bastard. Minato then clapped his hands to get people off their current trails of thought. I think we should get to the explanation about Naruto's new body now. After all, we don't have much time. Naruto stopped his violent thoughts to listen to what his father was saying. What do you mean we don't have much time, Dad? Minato sighed sadly. While both I and your mother would enjoy talking to you more than we already have, keeping a soul between the land of the living and the afterlife isn't an exact science. Even now the afterlife is beckoning you to pass on, and if Sage hadn't collected your soul after you died you already would have. We have to hurry before the pull is too much. We have to anchor you to the living with the body. I'm sorry to say, son, that like all our time together this is very limited. Naruto frowned at that. He had enjoyed the time he spent talking to his parents. Just being with them made him happy because of how little time he had gotten in life with his parents. Kushina, seeing her son's disappointment at the news, tried to cheer him up. Now Naruto-chan, don't be sad. We'll be watching over you and we'll always be proud of you no matter what. Naruto smiled at his mother's reassuring words. Ahem, as much as I don't want to interrupt the family bonding, we should get on with the last bit of information Naruto needs. Kushina pouted at the fox's words, but nevertheless she stepped back so he could say his part of the lecture. Naruto gave Kurama a firm gaze to show he was listening. Okay, my portion of the information is your new body, and the adjustments we made. First off, we made it so it looks exactly like you did when you were 3. What? You made me into a toddler, why? Naruto wasn't really happy to be a little kid again. Kurama sighed. Remember when we said new life? We said that because we want you to have a nice, happy and full life in the world we send you to. We are not gonna send you there with almost a quarter of your life over and you having to get used to the transition and make a place in the world. We also aren't going to send you there as a baby, so we decided 3 was the best age. Naruto relaxed after hearing the reason for his age regression, and he once again gave Kurama his undivided attention. Also, another thing you should know is that you will keep all of your memories and knowledge you had from your previous in the elemental nations. This will help you greatly with your new life. Naruto had a basic idea of what Kurama meant, but he still would prefer an explanation of the full extent of how this would help him. Can you explain? Kurama nodded at the boy's request. It means you will keep the knowledge of all the fighting styles you've learned, all the knowledge of your taijutsu, kenjutsu and other physical techniques you had in life will be open to you. You'll simply have to try them out in your new body to get used to the differences. You will also maintain your knowledge of the jutsu, fuinjutsu and other chakra-dependent techniques you had. You may be able to recreate them using this new world's magic. When that happens you can also use your knowledge of controlling chakra to help you learn magic when the time comes. Naruto gave a smirk. That's awesome. Kinda sucks that I'll have to recreate all my jutsu and fuinjutsu, but at least I won't have to relearn all my hand-to-hand. Kurama nodded with a smile at his previous host's ability to not let anything depress him. He then returned to his lecture involving Naruto's new body. Another change we made is changing your chakra to Eternano. It's not proportional to how much chakra you had before you died. That would just be unfair and overkill in some cases. But we did give you a definite above-average amount, though that is a bit of an understatement. Also your Eternano reserves will grow as you age, so you'll eventually have reserves as big as you had before, maybe even bigger. There's not much else to tell you about your new body. We basically made it as if you were a citizen of Heartland born and bred besides your enlarged reserves. Kurama then took a thinking pose as if he was trying to remember something. After a few minutes his eyes widened in realization. Apparently he had forgotten something. I almost forgot. I requested the old man to give your body something. A little gift from me. Naruto was curious as to what the gift was. What did he give me? Kurama smiled. A little something to remember me by and something you're gonna need. It's an accelerated healing rate, much like the one you got from me. Naruto gave his former prisoner-turned-friend a faint smile. Have I ever told you how awesome you are? Kurama smirked. Not nearly as much as you should, but I'm not complaining. But I still got to tell you the specifics. This healing ability is not the same as the one you had before. First off, it is in a way stronger. You will heal at twice the speed you used to. But you will not have me to send a concentrated amount of Yuki in order to heal fatal wounds, so you will need to get fatal wounds properly tended to. In other words, try to avoid getting holes in your chest because I won't be able to save your ass. Kami knows how horrible you are at dodging those. And finally, avoid internal damage to your organs and nerves. Healing them is a much more delicate process, and like I said, you won't have giant fox in your gut to regulate your healing ability so that internal damage heals as fast as flesh wounds. You will still heal them at a faster rate than other humans, but compared to your healing rate it will be slow. So flesh wounds and broken bones will heal quickly, but internal damage to your organs or any other complex portion of your body will take a while. Naruto was still giving Kurama a fanged grin. Don't worry Kurama, I'll be careful. I mean, come on, look who you're talking to. That's why I'm worried. Naruto slumped. Come on, even now you doubt me, Kurama. Naruto spoke in mock hurt, getting chuckles and smiles from the others. He always was the most cynical amongst his brothers and sisters. Came the voice of Sage as he came back. Minato turned to him with a serious look. Are you finished? Sage with an equally serious face nodded, and like that they all adopted a serious face. They knew what this meant. It was time for Naruto to leave to his new life. It was time to say goodbye. Is everything up to the proper specifications? No changing his gender or anything screwed up like that? Kurama asked his father figure. Nope, everything's on the up and up. The only changes that will happen to him from now on will be caused by a lack of you in him, and various changes in the life he'll have from now on. All that's left is to send him on his way. Sage explained. He received a nod from the others before they settled into uncomfortable silence. No one was willing to start off the goodbyes. Well, at least had enough and threw his hands into the air in annoyance. Geez, this is just too awkward. I'll start it off then if no one else will. He then turned to Naruto and spoke with utter sincerity. Kid, I haven't known you for long and neither have I had much of an impact on your life, but I want you to know you're a credit to our family name. When you get to your new home, keep doing what you've been doing and show him how awesome we are. Also this time try to die after you get out of your teens. You don't have the best track record when it comes to playing it safe. Naruto smiled. He was grateful for Sage's kind words. Thanks, Sage. Sage shrugged. Think nothing of it, kid, you did good. Sage then stepped back. Next, Kurama gave Naruto a smirk. Well, in all our time together you were a loudmouthed, immature pain in the ass, but towards the end you showed me how that wasn't a bad thing. You have a power, Naruto, to change people's hearts for the better. Never forget that, and never forget what you have learned in your life in the elemental notions. Good luck and give hell, kit. Kurama finished by extending his enclosed fist forward for a fist bump, something Naruto did as well as they tapped their fists together as a sign of their friendship. Thanks, Fireball. With that, Naruto turned to the last two people there. his parents. They were looking at him with happiness as his father held his mother close to him. They truly were the perfect picture of the parents Naruto had always wanted. I guess it's our turn now? His father asked. Yeah, I guess so. Naruto spoke. Kushina looked like she was fighting back tears as she stepped up to give her parting words to her son. Naruto, as your mother, there are so many things I've wanted to tell you, to teach you. But I never got the chance. But luckily, you ended up becoming everything I ever hoped you would become, even though I wasn't there. All I can say now is, do your best, and this time could you do your mother a favor? Find a nice girl, someone that will love you for who you are. I'm not asking you to rush and find a wife as soon as you can. These things take time after all. But please find someone that can make you happy. Be sure to have plenty of children as well, so I have lots of grandbabies to spoil. Sniff, apart from that, I just want you to know that we love you, so very, very much. Sniff, and we'll be watching over you. Towards the end, Kushina was losing the battle with her tears. Minato placed a comforting hand on his wife's shoulders before giving his son a proud smile. Everything your mother said goes double for me. We know you're going to do great things, Naruto, and no matter what, we'll always be proud of you and we'll always love you. Naruto had tears threatening to spill from his own eyes at his parents' words. Mom, Dad, thank you. Naruto then embraced his parents in a hug filled with love and happiness. They stayed like that for a while, just holding each other, before they reluctantly let go. Naruto turned his teary eyes towards Sage to see the man blowing his nose into a handkerchief at the display. Naruto gave him a confident grin and spoke. I'm ready. Sage nodded. Well then, better hurry up. All aboard the Sage Express. Sage snapped his fingers and a door filled with shining light opened up out of nowhere. Next stop, Earthland, and your fabulous new body and life. Sage then stepped aside as Naruto walked up to the door. Naruto looked back at them. They were all staring at him with smiles that said, we believe in you. With that, Naruto gave a final grin before he walked through the door, and into his new life. He had one thought going through his head as he stepped through it. My first story was Naruto Uzumaki, the #1 unpredictable ninja. I wonder what this one will be called. Earthland year 769. In a large clearing in the middle of a clearing next to a large moss and grass-covered hillock lay a small spikes blonde-haired boy. The boy lay perfectly still with not even his chest making any movement to indicate breathing. Suddenly his chest began moving as the boy took in his first breath of this new world. Naruto groaned as he slowly opened his eyes to the light of the sun. He felt like his entire body had been shut down for a week, and it just started up again. He sat up, and after his eyes got used to the light he took a look around. He wasn't surprised to not see anything shocking or remarkable after his father's explanation of the world. But he was a little underwhelmed to see that the landscape looked just like the forests near Konoha. Guess they didn't want to send me any place too different to what I'm used to. His voice sounded gravely, something Naruto quickly cleared up by wetting his throat with saliva and clearing his throat a little. He then gave the place another appraising look. So this is Earthland. My first impression of this place, I like it. Naruto finished with a chuckle at saying something similar to what Kakashi said when he first met the man. Naruto then unsteadily got onto his new wobbly legs. He didn't really feel right in his new body. But of course, if someone were to lose a couple feet one height as well as a large amount of muscle mass, they wouldn't feel at home in their body no matter who they were. Naruto took a few shaky steps and started stretching out his limbs in an effort to get at least somewhat accommodated to this new body. Eventually Naruto was able to walk without tripping over his feet. He made a note to himself to train as soon as he could to get used to his new body and perhaps gain a bit of his strength and speed back. He was very put off that he had lost all his speed and strength after all the hard work he did, and he was especially upset that he now had the basic physical ability of a 3-year-old child. Well, I guess I should find out where I am exactly. Naruto then turned to the large hillock and began climbing it. He had a little trouble at first, but after a bit of climbing he gained some more control of his body, allowing him to climb up with better ease. When he reached the top, he was able to see a beautiful sight. He was able to see above the trees and outside to forest to see grassy plains as well as other collections of trees dotted around the large expanse of land he was able to see. He was able to see large mountains in the distance along with a lake a couple miles away from his current position. He then spotted what looked like a road. He followed it with his gaze until he saw a town that was 10 to 15 miles away. All in all, Naruto would say this place was beautiful. It slightly reminded him of the view he would get of Konoha from on top of the Hokage monument. Then his mind wondered what he would often do when he was on the Hokage monument. He'd shout out his name, and what he wanted to do with his life. Why don't I, for old time's sake? But what am I gonna say? I got it. After that thought, Naruto inhaled to get air in his lungs, then shouted out, Hello Earthland, I'm Naruto Uzumaki and I'm gonna be an awesome mage. After that, Naruto smiled out at the expanse of his new home. Then suddenly it felt like an earthquake just started as the ground began shaking violently. At least Naruto thought it was an earthquake until he noticed something. The hillock he was on was moving. Having better sense than to stay on the moving hill, Naruto quickly jumped off of it. Due to the fact that he had yet to perfect his motor skills in this new body, Naruto ended up landing on his front. He quickly rolled over and began crawling backwards once he saw that the hillock was standing up. It wasn't long after that he realized the hillock was in fact a living creature. Once the creature was fully standing, Naruto was able to get a description of it. It was covered in what looked like golden brown scales that looked as hard as solid steel. The top of the creature was covered in moss, grass and other plant life. It had 4 large muscled legs that looked powerful enough to cause craters in the ground with each step. These legs had large claws that looked like they could cleave through steel like butter at the ends of them. Extending from its backside was a long tail that looked like it could topple trees. At the end of this tail was a large arrowhead-shaped bone that made the tail look like a giant spear. Its head was shaped similar to Kurama's and had 2 horns that resembled antlers to an extent jitter out from its head at a 135-degree angle. As the creature opened its mouth to yawn, Naruto saw that its mouth was lined with pointy, diamond-hard teeth that could most likely crush real diamonds. The creature was enormous. It was so large that Naruto was about the size of one of its eyeballs that Naruto just noticed were molten gold in color. If you need help imagining what it looks like, type up Elder WYRM from Final Fantasy XII, and you'll see a similar dragon. Just make a few changes based on my description, and you'll be able to get a decent picture of what he looks like. It was then that Naruto realized what this creature was. It was a goddamn dragon. Naruto was looking at an honest-to-God dragon. Suddenly the dragon took a sniff of the air and slowly turned towards Naruto, the twin molten gold pools with slits in them that were its eyes zeroed in on Naruto. Naruto froze. He had no idea what to do. He was being stared at by a huge dragon, and he had no way to defend himself save for the taijutsu he knew that he probably couldn't even properly execute at the moment. Naruto was so nervous that he did the first thing that came to mind. He gave the dragon a 2-fingered salute, and said, "Yo!" The dragon gave Naruto what he assumed to be a confused blink. "Well, I've gotten off to a great start in my new life. Hasn't even been half an hour, and I'm already in a life-or-death situation. A new record in how long I can go in life without having my life in jeopardy. What if neglected Naruto was sent by force in fairy tale? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoyed this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel. And leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.